welcome back to the second day of week 6 of the VCS of the Vietnamese Championship Series. I am Mamanogi, this is Quincy. We had a battle for relegations where Team Flash came out on top. Now it's the battle for playoffs. SBTC versus Saigon Buffalo. SBTC are in a good position. They have a win up over their competition in Wales. And Buffalo is still a little bit outside contention. But they still have a hard schedule. And Buffalo is the first on that list. So, Quincy, do you see it happening? Do you see Buffalo taking the reins and putting the chickens to rest?
Yes, I do. Either way, let's go a little bit more into detail of that one. Buffalo are on a more of a hot streak, I gotta say. I mean, they had this one loss, but that loss that they had was against GAM. And they even took a game from GAM, which barely any team in the current state of VCS really does. So I think having a 1-2 loss to GAM almost counts as a win for any team in the VCS right now. So that's definitely not something that they really need to feel sorry about. So speaking of that one, Buffalo are on a upward trajectory in general. Gotta say though, SBTC for now are ahead of them in the standings, and also, I gotta say that one, they are looking good so far regarding that they yesterday 2-0 Team Flash, who looked very good just a few minutes ago. So that might just be one argument that speaks in their favor.
Yep. SBTC put a very convincing series away yesterday. They played scaling. They seem to have figured out an identity for them to work with. They've locked themselves in. Slater carry us. We will put DO1 on something that can roam, a Rise, a Galio, even an Ari. These seem to be the champions he seems to like. And then give Slater the space to carry, give DO1 the ability to impact early, and let Enper do his thing on the top side. That's what we love to see. That's what we need. That's what we want from the side of SBTC. Consistency and identity, and now they've got it.
Hopefully they have. And on the side of Saigon Buffalo, they also played like some experiments, right? They had BJ in the jungle, then they substituted him for another jungler who was, I think it's Guri was his name, right? That was a Talia jungle player who had very stellar performances on that one. Guri was his name, exactly. And I just wonder which jungler they are really running currently, because Guri definitely had a great showing in general, but then BJ was back for a series or two and also looked fine in those ones. In a fan mode right now, which you guys at home can't really see as long as you aren't following the official broadcast, it speaks heavily, or not heavily, I gotta say, but it speaks in the favor of SBTC. It's 61% towards the 39% on Saigon Buffalo's side. Gotta say though, SBTC in general tends to be a fan favorite in Vietnam, so that's to be taken with a grain of salt.
Sure. And
in general, it should just all add up towards a close series, which we all hope to see, maybe a 3-game series even. And we cannot wait to figure out who will really come out on top. I have seen like predictions going on the VCS English broadcast side go a little bit more in Saigon Buffalo's favor, and I am of course echoing that statement and saying that Saigon Buffalo should probably have it. I think 2-1 could be possible, but if they just really have the system of SBTC figured out, I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually landed home to 0 today.
Yeah, 2-1 I think feels pretty reasonable regardless of which team you are picking. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I do think if it is going to be a 2-0, it would be in the favor of Buffalo. I think if they can actually hone in onto how to beat a team, they can usually set it off and make it work. And they need all the wins. They do need all the wins they can get. They don't have the hardest schedule, but that left to Buffalo, but they're down a series compared to the side of Wales, who is currently sitting in that 4th spot, that final playoffs point. And they do have to play Wales directly, but they also have GAM left on the table, and that is a pretty daunting task. They do still have MBE, but now MBE is no longer just that free win, as they showed us against Cerberus, and even to Team Secret somewhat yesterday. As we now move into the draft, a lot of AD carries taken off the board, want to hit Shogun where it hurts, who has been by far Buffalo's best player thus far this split, and taking away some of DO1 specials on the other side of Buffalo.
Absolutely, and we see that with the target being there, also Gargas being taken away, which is such a huge flex pick in general, and also Gui playing again, so it's not BJ this time. Gui, I addressed it earlier, right? The insane Talia performance is coming out for him, but they actually, at least for now, pen away with that one, as they go for the Sejuani first pick. Could still be a theoretical flex pick for Husband and Foggy, but not really their kind of style, I gotta say, so it's probably just a jungle Sejuani coming through, especially the current meta kind of favoring Sejuani being played in the jungle role. So now on the side of SPTC, one way to secure strong champions in the draft, I think something like Isaiah is left open. Rakan isn't, but you still definitely can find great supports that can really enable this AD carry altogether, but they actually go for this Ari first pick on their side one. But I mean, you just have to pick Zaya, right? It's such a strong AD carry in general. Why would you not pick it?
It's also been Slater's most successful pick over these past few series, and the Ari pick feels like a bit more of a takeaway from Froggy than a specific DO1 choice, but it's definitely something he can pilot. Meanwhile, they're gonna let it go. Let Zaya Lucian Nami go, man. There are so many more exciting things. We could have had Shogun on Aphelios, that's where he's a beast, but they want to try and run this back. So Rakan off the table, Paulette's going to grab the Nautilus and maybe try to do the same thing. Oh, or they're going to lock in jungle now.
They actually lock in jungle now, with the Vi being locked in, so definitely one guaranteed target that you can really get with the cease and desist onto something like Illusion, maybe even the Nami itself to really target out. So absolutely working in their favor. Gotta say though, they can now target the support pool on the side of Saigon Buffalo, so they easily just now can get rid of something like a Nautilus, like a Leona, that would definitely annoy them. And on the side of SPTC, they still consider Sejuani being a pick for maybe even Froggy or Hasmet here, as they are banning away the Talia. It of course a pick that can also, in their own right, be flexed to the mid lane, but in general, you definitely want to target Gui on this pickup. And Nautilus being taken away, no surprise to me, as I just now addressed it. And for SPTC, what do you really want to target now? Maybe something like a comfort pick for Husband that you don't want to see in general would be something that they ban away in this second ban rotation on the side of SPTC. So let's wait and see what it really will be. I think something like a Jace you could ban away, but that's something that Husband hasn't really played so far recently.
Yeah, maybe looking towards one of these sort of flex rolls. No, it will just be Ryze taking away matchups they don't want Froggy having. They don't want, if we assume that Talia is also somewhat a mid pick, which it is, it definitely can go into the mid lane. We sort of see they want to keep Froggy contained somewhat. They do not want him to be able to match Ari in the sort of push and roam sort of pressure. But we definitely know Froggy is an experienced Galio player. We definitely know Froggy can play anything from ranging from Scion, Kled, Pantheon. He can make the big map plays if he wants, but he's not going to, because that's Pantheon support.
That's Pantheon support. Could be Pantheon top lane, but probably isn't, right? I mean, Pantheon support.
It could be.
It sounds like something that makes sense, right? I mean, just hard all in onto the Nami, onto the Illusion potentially, and just like being Leona but different, but just more into your face, just more with his own damage abilities, and definitely something that doesn't really scale well into the later game, but it probably just doesn't need to be, right? I mean, as long as you can dominate the spot lane with it, it's something that you definitely have to respect on the side of Saigon Buffalo. It's something that I feel like either turns out greatly or turns out very, very poorly, as Poggy may be ready to play LeBlanc into Ari. This is a skill matchup, but I've seen some LeBlancs definitely winning this one, so wouldn't be too surprising. In general, however, I don't see Foggy as the LeBlanc kind of player. The Lisanne was something that's more on his style, at least. Something where he can really impact the other side lanes, just be a good teamfight presence. And Ari also in general, one champion that can really nullify all the mobility coming through for the enemy team, especially like an Ari doesn't want to be in the ring of forced range and definitely has to play around this one. And also kind of like a soft reset champion, as she had these frozen falls as long as takedowns are happening very close to her. So that's something that definitely maybe even Shogun and Taki can really work with.
Alright, and they round it out finally with that Gwen pick. Wants to put the hurt into Heartsmed, wants to make sure Enpo wins that. Well, maybe doesn't win the lane necessarily, but will have a good time in that top lane and scale up to be that late game menace. And I'm really liking what SBTC is putting down. Saigon Buffalo, I feel, could be encountering a little case of it's Lucian or nothing in the damage department.
Kind of, yes. I mean, it just all depends on the spot lane, but if this Pantheon support pick is really coming to fruition here, as we just know we're done with the draft, and just gotta say, like, Lucian Nami is something that we are all like kind of tired of seeing, right? This is just now why we maybe even just have to hand it on the side of SBTC towards this draft, but also like Gwen to Cassandra, great matchup that they can really play around. Are we the more conventional mid laner compared to what's the Lissandra, and also via a champion that can do more on her own than the Sejuani can really do in those later team fights? And let's wait and see how it will really play out between those two. I think this Pantheon support pick is just so volatile in both directions, and I'm just looking forward to see what SBTC can really do it, because in general they were like not really looking to be like one of those teams that really drafts well, but recently they kind of did, and this is why I want to see more of them. And just punishing Saigon Buffalo, who still in 2023, at the end of March, still dare to play Lucian Army. I just don't want it to win. I mean, it's just something that's, but just a personal sense of disgust really comes out of us.
Yeah, and with that, we will be moving on to the Rift pretty soon, pretty quickly. And yeah, we've seen buffs come towards Pantheon. Specifically, they were meant to push him into the top lane, but as a result, he's got a lot of damage. He can definitely burst out any of his bot lane carries if he gets the jump on them. Shogun will take the cleanse as a response, but the ability to stack up. Okay, Palette not going for the pressy attack rune like I would have expected. I feel that's usually the best option for the Pantheon in the support position, because you just want to proc the PTA and do as much damage as possible. But no, gonna go for Conquer, gonna try and be a little bit more effective in the extended fights as the game progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. As we now hopefully load into the Rift. Apparently something is cooking right now with my setup, so definitely not looking too good. Either way, I hope this setting will work out. As we are now onto the Rift, we see all this wound setup, as you just now addressed those, right? The cleanse and the heal on the Nami side, something that's not that unusual, as now we see. Yeah. Not really much happening in this first level. I mean, you have Nami on the one side, Pantheon on the other. Actually, with Pantheon, you might just try something. And Emperor definitely is trying something here, but I'm not quite sure if he should.
Oh? Yeah, I don't necessarily think he was expecting Hosmer to be there, but because this is a very dangerous situation, he had the Ignite down. He has the E level up, so he will get over the wall. This puts a pretty decent damage into Guri, but yeah, I don't think he was expecting Hosmer to be there. I think I was just trying to get the cheese kill onto Guri. He would have gotten it if it was a 1v1.
Yeah, and Emperor not dying there is almost criminal, right? I mean, he just face checks two people, blows everything onto the tank, and it ends up being almost fine for him, but he, of course, now down both his summoner spells. Annoyed Guri a little bit there, and Guri is still being chunked, but he's a jungler, right? And in the jungle, every camp is like a Pokemon center, right? You heal back up quite a bit if you have the smite button. So, at the end of the day, I think that's a small win for Saigon Buffalo already. However, what's not a small win for them is this bot lane matchup, because Lucian Nami, not very strong level 1, despite being known as such a bully lane initially, definitely has to respect Xayah and Pantheon so early on, and needs a bit of time to really scale into it. Probably like the Gale Force Imperial Man and Power Spike as per usual, the point where they are really strong. Gotta tell you, however, though, Xayah and Pantheon are also very strong one-item champions, so let's wait and see how it will really play out between these bot lane matchups. And Guri, yeah, he's still kind of suffering from this early chunk, but so is Emperor. I mean, he is in the winning matchup, but Cassante having such a nice few first waves, definitely something that he's happy with. But Froggy? Oh no.
Okay, Froggy's gonna flash, but the knock up, the charm, it's good. DNK will be the one who claims that kill. That's first blood onto the Lissandra. A good start for SBTC.
Absolutely though, and Froggy flashing kind of early there as he was seeing the enemy opposition right there, but the wall breaker landing afterward the flash means that DNK can reward himself, and Guri not set behind a bit further, also tanks another wall breaker, and oh no, Palette can just annoy him even more.
Oh, Palette can just
kill him! What? Wow!
Okay. Woo! Okay, he actually does get the kill, the flash away. Had enough despite Taki's healing. Man, it's Enper's play in the top lane, he doesn't get to see any real reward from it individually, but it has paid off. And now Palette, with these double buffs, can be super aggressive with the spears, can just walk up to Shogun, forces the cleanse immediately. Everything's looking dandy for the side of SBTC. Shogun's gonna try and do something back.
Yeah, so far. And Gui, yeah, now also falling down once against the enemy support. Definitely something that hurts. Yeah, he wants them back. He wants revenge. Palette actually staying around though. So something that he can maybe go for. But he's on vision all the time. Like, Gui doesn't really find his groove in this early game. And the Sejuani has been first pick for him, so he definitely needs to justify this pick to some extent. As Hasmet so far still having fun against Emper. And I wonder how this really shifts, because we know Gwen outscales the Crescente in the side lane, but if he's set back like 2 full waves against Crescente, I wonder if he ever like really gets to really catch up to him. Because it's looking so good for Hasmet right now.
Yeah, it's very good in the CS department, and it can mean Hasmet can get to a position where maybe, even though I don't think he necessarily has that kill threat onto the Gwen specifically, can start to be a menace that Slater has to worry about, that Dia has to worry about if he leaves the lane and goes into the sides, and Dia putting the hurt onto Froggy. Glad to see this mid laner, this old veteran of DO1 regaining some of his form when he was known as the most lane dominant player in the league.
Absolutely, and with that, DNK starting off this mountain wake. The bot lane, of course, having a good priority, good control of the lane. We also see the good CS lead by the side of Slater. Palette, of course, with his early kill up onto the enemy jungler. Definitely happy about how the game is really playing right now. And Lucian and Nami not really finding room to breathe so far. They are being pushed in, which nets DNK this mountain wake. And Gui just also struggling to really find an impact in this game. Definitely DNK pulling up ahead in this early game. Can go for his Quacks on this side, on the side of Gui, and all just that from this level 1 play from Endpoint, maybe a little bit. Just him going for this 1v2, almost suicide mission, but he himself is the one who's suffering the most from it, right? Husband is ahead now, but what yes. Really does it net you if Cassante is slightly ahead of the Gwen? He has more time now to not lose the side lane, but if that's all it really took, it's very well for SBTC. I mean, mid lane is looking good, jungle's looking good, bot lane as well, and SBTC can fire on all cylinders basically.
Yeah, and it's really just a matter of time before SBTC considers sending some help up there. If Harsman keeps pushing up into the tower, right now he's going to back and be a little bit stronger with that ability. And of course had to teleport at level 1, so it's going to be a little bit of time before he can start actually impact the lane with start getting the items under the belt in a way that actually will influence this matchup. But now Taki on the roam, Taki trying to match up with Guri, see if they can regain any pressure, as Palette just needs to just sort of lurks into the bot lane and says, hey, Shogun, step up. Yep, Shogun has cleanse, so he should feel a little bit more comfortable, but it's still not something you really want to do up against this Pantheon.
He doesn't look that comfortable, I just gotta say. Either way, also Foggy down so many CS, but I mean, of course, he got ganked and taken down once, but it's just maybe a little bit of a callback to the older Foggy past, where he was definitely struggling to just CS in the 1v0 situations. So that's not something that really should happen. I think on the Lissandra you can somewhat afford it, as she is definitely something that can work with a decent amount of utility. But of course, still not something you really want to see if you are a Saigon Buffalo fan. DNK now looking for this top lane gank, but is spotted out as he sees with the Sweeper and Hasmet. Together with this huge minion wave, of course, can easily fight against the Vi. And Emper just wants to pick up this CS on his own. He's down enough CS. And DNK so far just having the time of his life. Can just go for the first Drake, can go for the first Herald, and no direct resistance coming through from the side of Gui. However, bot lane is level 6 right now and Gui is around. However, the SBTC bot lane definitely sees that one coming.
Yeah, we see Palette went to try and get another play onto Shogun, cleanse forced. Palette took a pretty decent brunt of damage from that, but now he has a Dirk in hand. If he comes back down, he can try and make something impressive happen, but we do need to see where this will go. As Curry can't quite find it. It's a good ultimate from Slater. The bubble is also nice from Taki catching him on the way down, but it's just going to be a little bit of damage onto Slater, and he's going to be completely fine.
Absolutely. We'll just pick up this wave under the turret and probably recall right then. In the item department, he's exactly even to Shogun, probably able to shop a little bit right now. Maybe going towards that Gale Force completion, but maybe not quite, as he will probably just now grab the boots and a little bit of component money right now. As Gooby now starting off his chickens. We have just now seen him, he is level 6, could use his ultimate, but that one wasn't quite a W, as DNK is contesting so much of him. Gooby never really recovered from this level 1 play.
No, he's gonna actually manage to get those raptors, and now Froggy's on the roam first, so maybe DNK's in a bit of trouble. But can Vault Breaker over the wall, nothing to follow up. I'm loving these bot laners who are just dead even, exact the same itemization. The Shogun drops that one pink ward to undo that, but it's so neck and neck there in the bot lane. It's exciting. I'm still waiting for something to happen. Palette now sitting on a ward.
And gotta say, Shogun and Taki are at least stable.
Now.
While they are down, but they are just now down like one wave, and that's like from level 1 to level 2, like kind of the thing that's inevitable, I gotta say. So I think they are kind of stabilized, and they are just now slowly and patiently waiting for their power spike with the Gale Force Imperial Mandate being through. And Guri just now, not being in vision, could just go for another play and show Slater, maybe taking some damage. Tidal Wave coming through, but here might just be the play, and I don't really get to see it. It's so sad.
Yeah. Everything comes through. A lot of damage dealt onto Slater. A good bubble onto Palette will also force that second flash. In the end, it's Summoners blown on the side of SBTC spots, but I mean, we've just seen Guri kind of set up a camp down there, which has helped Shogun and Taki out a lot. That means they haven't really fallen behind. They've stayed back under their tower. They've weathered the storm, and they've been able to do a bit, but that's 2 attempts Guri has made down there. He hasn't managed to really gather all that much from it. And due to resets, it should be a dragon for the side of SBTC. So they're actually continually coming up on top. We might see Guri try to contest this.
I think he shouldn't though, like he's 1v2, but actually he maybe could, or at least just look for the potential steal, because they can't really fight the Drake and him at the same time. Guri might just go for the steal, but he doesn't get it as he gets locked on by the cease and desist. Also gets ignited, but I think he will easily survive this one. So the ignite by Palette being kind of a waste. However, I think SE got what they really wanted there. I mean, it's a second Drake. They are a decent chunk ahead in gold right now, and that's all they really wanted so far from this Pantheon support pickup. And DR1, does he get collapsed on? He can't. I mean, Froggy not really having the damage, right? It's just Lost Chapter and the cooldown boost. Can't really kill an AoE with that one.
Yeah, just having to evacuate. They couldn't quite get the kill on Guri, given Saigon Buffalo rather were just a little bit faster on the collapse overall. Now I'm gonna sort of see Pantheon making his way down mid lane. He has the ultimate in hand, so we're gonna have to see if he can make use of that first one. Running down mid. He's here. He's making the move, but it's a good claw. It's a good claw from Froggy, and that's very, very lackluster first ultimate. But Froggy can't really stick around. Doesn't have that ultimate, so if he steps too far forward, can just get caught up in the CC chain. But you know, just a few plates over to DL1 and DNK. Small gold advantage.
Bot lane.
Not the biggest, but oh, good Lord Slater is taking a lot of damage from the culling right now, eating pretty much every shot he can try and get onto Taki. Shogun's going to flash in first and interrupt it. Now it's still a 3v2. Slater being left alone on the spot side. Can DNK find something? No, with a heal on top of Shogun, he should start to be fine, and Palette has to back away with DNK, and it's a big win for SGB, finding the angle, finding the 2v1.
Very good play by the side of the bot lane from SGB right there, going for this clean dive to get Slater really done. And Slater actually made a good amount of effort to really play it out and survive as long as he possibly could, get a bit from the minion wave right there. And he got this one, but the inevitable wasn't really possible for him to prevent. Here, good feather storm by him, we see it in the replay. And Shogun then landing a lot of culling shots onto him. And it's just Slater, yeah, he tries to just make it as small of a loss as possible, goes for the wave, eventually just dies, forcing Shogun's flash at this because he was taking the turret aggro and just had to walk all the way through it. Now Hasmet is on to Emperor. but this probably
Shouldn't
won't
really be
result
able
in
to achieve
much.
anything. Yes, can't really achieve much, and yeah, we just seen this. Except that one kill on Taguri, this Pantheon has been quite unimpactful. It helped them secure these first 2 Drakes, which I suppose is a bonus for a benefit and what you're sort of looking for this champion to do, but that first ultimate in the mid lane was a complete flop, and the cross map from SGB was beautiful. So by no means are they out of this game. It's only 1,000 gold in the lead for SBTC plus objectives. Now maybe something can happen if DNK finds the angle, but it's always a bit risky to gank a Cassante.
Definitely is so, but I don't think he can 1v2 really in this situation. Like, the Gwen does way too much damage, especially with Ignite being there. And here the Wallbreaker comes in. It is Hasmet being chunked down, using the Ghost, using the All Out, but he can just easily get locked down. Wallbreaker in, and Enpa actually gets the last hit with the Needlework coming through. So Hasmet, yeah, just overextended a little bit. Wanted the wave all the way in, got this one. The other one gets knocked up, and also gets Glacial Tombed. But the stasis by so much time. He lives.
So much. He lives. He gets that Spirit Rush away, and even though SBTC kind of couldn't do anything to counterplay that from the side of the bot lane, it's a lot committed. It's no kill onto Dia. It does give them position for this Rift Herald, but with a DNK back on the map alongside Enpa, maybe they can't actually go for it. It's okay. It was DNK actually trying to start it up and then having to leave. Everything's settling. It's all normal now.
It absolutely is. And SE now still with the around 2k gold, but they had this one for quite a while just now. Want to see if they can really snowball it one, but I think to some extent they really have to with this Pantheon pick in the bot lane. Being this one inclining, that scales actually decently worse than the Lucianami bot lane would be on their side. However, on the other side, they could just use it as a bridge pick to really propel the side lane further ahead as Enpa now against Hasmet after getting this kill we got earlier. Should be quite fine. We just now see the gold ranking on the left side of the screen, where Hasmet just now being slightly behind of him actually. Especially considering the early game they had, it's kind of surprising a little bit, and they could just use him to really make use of him in the late game to go for a 4-man squad to just defense, while Hasmet is getting pushed in by Enpa, and ultimately would just fall to the split push power. So let's wait and see how SE really approaches it.
Yeah, we're seeing Slater a little bit left to dry in the gold department, so we need to see SBTC try and find the angles, try and get the Xayah back into the game. It's not, I mean, they're not too far behind realistically. There's the Zeal, which should be offset a little bit by the completed Berserker Greaves.
Oh, Dia 1?
Oh, good Lord, Dia is in trouble, has enough spirit to rush away though. It's all good, but SGB are the ones making the proactive plays, finding the picks despite the gold. And now maybe DNK? Nope, he's gonna try and evacuate from there, which makes a lot of sense. You have to wait for Dia to try and teleport back in, but even then, I don't necessarily know if you want to fight straight up into 5v5 right now. DNK is gonna get caught out. There's a huge tidal wave gonna come through, but it passes through the posts. It's a flash force, but that's about all from SBTC.
I think SE should have the move here, because there are so many ultimates, but the Tidal Wave is down, the Culling is down, the Glacial Tomb is down, the Glacial Prison as well. Like, there's only just the All from Cassandra to really make work here, so I think SE should have the angle right here. I mean, there are a lot of flashes down, but in general, it could just be SE washing away this Drake and then just escaping, because there's not really return fire coming through from the side of SGB, and SE definitely wants to have this Drake. I mean, we could argue even more about this Camsoul in general, but now Gwen, within the pit, can deal good DPS damage. Gotta say, she's not really ideal in the 5v5 situations, but this is just a Drake that might just be flipped to the wayside. And SE probably okay with this for now.
Okay, but here it comes. It's gonna be a lot committed onto Empa. In comes the Grand Starfall. Emperor's gonna be taken out by Hasmet. That almost saves his life, and Empa gets him down. Guri will find the win on the Drake, but Froggy falls also. It's 2 for 1, and another charm lands on Guri. Flash away. We'll be able to escape with the Blast Cone. It's a one fight for SBTC, but the Dragon does go to SGB. No jungle available for DNK for SBTC, so they probably can't convert that into a Rift Herald either. Oh, good bubble.
And it's probably SGB being very happy with that one. I mean, they definitely gladly give away 2 kills to get 1 kill and the Drake, as here we see the fight again. It is not just the smite fight won by the side of Gui, it's also the lockdown being done very quickly to get DNK really out of it. Shogun is kind of trapped in the pit but can eventually escape from this one. Foggy buys so much time despite falling down. Stasis plus Winger Force before he really dies means he does die, but it definitely buys time and space for his team. So it will be the Drake and the kill for the 2 kills. Nobody claiming the Rift Herald, and SGB gets some time to scale into this game on their terms. And Shogun, yeah, getting some money in this fight as well, is definitely firmly ahead of this Xayah pickup. With the Gale Force Rapid Fire Cannon build, not the highest damage in the mid game that we could have maybe hoped for, but definitely a strong utility carry in that regard. And once he finishes that Infinity Edge at the 3rd item, or the Navori Quick Blades even, which is more common nowadays, definitely should be hitting like a truck to these members from SE. And also one problem we just note though, Gwen very strong in the game, but not really the predestined 5-man team fighter, so she definitely struggled in this fight.
Yes. She deals a lot of damage, but she might sometimes have difficulty actually getting to put it into the enemy team. SGB, they reset onto the top side. They decide, we are getting this Rift Herald. We will have that. We will be able to drop that in the mid lane. And they've had a lot of control. They've been using this culling on cooldown onto Slater and just trying to force him out. They probably won't be able to achieve it this push. There's nothing to really apply the pressure. Now DNK lurking in a bush, and Gwen following suit. And Emperor just happily now getting to the point where he can just run the bot lane, run the 1v1. Taskmate cannot do all that much to stop him.
Yeah, that's kind of the approach that Second Buffalo went with this game, right? Husband had the early lead and they just now slowly but surely shifted it away from Husband but toward their own bot lane, which in general is a good thing, of course, with Shogun now being firmly ahead of Slater. So for these next team fights, it will definitely be something that they can work with. But overall, we can't just ignore the elephant in the room, right? SPTC is almost 3k gold ahead right now, with Emperor on the Gwen getting this one outer turret now secured, and the Swift Herald charge being unaccompanied by the side of SGB. They are returning the fire and might just get this mid lane outer turret, the most important map control turret. But you see DNK lurking there, they might just force the issue.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna get the pressure in, and with DNK showing himself, okay, that's a huge cease and desist. He's gonna go right into the back line. He's not actually gonna find it. They do pick up Guru, they do pick up Taki,
oh,
but Shogun is still fine. DO1 finds him actually off on the side, and that is a huge win for SPTC. They turn it right back around. They're gonna pick up a mid lane turret, and they control this map. Oh, Froggy!
Oh, Foggy also having to flash there, very low HP, and this might just been buried at the 21-minute mark with 3 kills. It is within tier 1 to it, and that Herald charge being very much forced by side of SGB. But the Grand Starfall combined with the season, this is just so much backline dive. Shogun tried his best to really cut it out, but at the end of the day just fell to the Spirit Rush from the Ari. Here we see it again, TP in the backline. Here the Grand Starfall, they just come from all angles. Emperor's in the backline as well as the Pantheon, and the Vi early on with this huge disruption play, and it's just nothing SGB can really do against it. And so much collapse, just Shogun on the side and against the R1. And an Ari, mobile champion with a charm, can make it very hard for the Lucian to outplay. So SPTC now really have bitten into the Buffalo itself and just ripped out a huge chunk. Now 7,000 gold up, they have the Baron for more than 2 minutes and could just go for Soul Point with this next Chemtech Flag spawning in less than a minute. And SGB definitely needs to stabilize right now, otherwise the game is out of their hands. And it might just already be.
It's such a huge explosion into the lead. A second Dirk completed for the side of Paulette. He is actually, I mean, he's a damage threat in his own right on this Pantheon. If he can land that big stun onto someone, we saw that combination of the Vi and the Pantheon and that Grand Starfall. And actually, this is something worth mentioning. This is a pretty damaging Vi as well, going for the Divine Sundra into Anathemas. This is something I don't think I've seen ever for at least a year.
Let him cook.
Ever since the why not? Yeah, let him in. Let him do the damage. He's absolutely serving it up. They're gonna pick up this dragon for free. This does waste a bit of time on the Baron, so it's gonna be a bit small reprieve for SGB, that they don't have to deal with it for that much longer, just 1.5 minutes. They need to try and match these waves. They need to try and sync them up. Because at the moment, they're playing off the 2 lanes and giving an angle for Froggy to maybe steal some gold back in a bounty top.
That's what they do. But I think getting this inner turret much more important than leaving this outer turret in the top lane alone. I mean, just the top lane outer turret. I mean, at the end of the day, it probably will fall anyway. Yeah. But Froggy not even going for it. He just now is recalling, just getting to go for this reset. Soon as our goal completed for his side, so he has a second option for stays with the one. Gets Glacial Prisoned, okay. Culling also following. But Saigon Buffalo is trying something, but they aren't landing any damage whatsoever. I mean, they should have been so much more when they use the ultimate buttons. And SBTC doesn't show much respect, but they also don't really need to be showing respect, as like Buffalo just doesn't really do much.
Yeah, insanely high Merc Treads value there, able to get out of the Glacial Prison and then just walk away from the culling. And Enpo continuously putting
DNK
down, clearing up that wave. And okay, DNK might have stepped forward, but he's found the cease and desist. Can the follow-up come through? Yes, Enpo has removed Shogun from the fight. Double kill for Gwen. It's traded off for the Vi, but that is absolutely a-okay. But now a lot of low health bars. No re-engage from Froggy. It's just going to take the 2-for-1. Just going to be these towers destroyed. And it's a win for SBTC.
And DNK very trigger heavy this game, just going for this very deep dive on the Vi with the cease and desist. And I mean, it's, as long as you sacrifice yourself for Shogun alone, it would just probably be worth. But here we see it again. Turret about to die. He just gets the log on down onto Shogun. Shogun dies before he can really press any button, and DNK dies, but so do Shogun and the opposing jungler in Guri. So 2-for-1 plus a turret, something that SBTC takes any day of the week. And now they up almost 9,000 gold, they are on soul point. The Baron now expired, but the damage definitely is done on the side of SGB. And they are still struggling to find the power spikes, right? Lucian should be strong right now. Very close to hit this Navori Quick Blades power spike. But he just now quite very frustrating. But he has all the components, but not the finished item. And meanwhile, Slater, who has been kept behind, already has Navoris, is now looking towards, I think, the Wilder's Grudge or the Dominic's Regards. Might just be the Wilder's this game, because he just wants this mid-game power spike. And everyone who really had like a small win doesn't really go for anything. No.
Probably not, but
that is just not good in general, right? I mean, there's some healing is there, right? There's an army, but no, don't go Mortal Reminder now.
Okay.
Unless you just
going for the...
Unless it costs like 1,400 and here's 1,500 in the shop and could just finish the item, then one team fight and you win, because you then have a quicker power spike. Was not efficiency, but in 99 out of 100 cases you shouldn't build Mortal Reminder here.
Yes, yeah. I don't think Mortal Reminder is actually cheaper overall, so it's a slightly nicer build.
Then forget it, yeah.
But yeah, that's not really the relevant case here. As final tower outside the base, Slater just going to whack away at that one. Not much Hearthman can do to defend it against the strength of Enpa and Slater. Now they're going to back off. They're going to feel pretty comfortable. They've gotten themselves a 10,000 gold lead. They just need to wait for the Baron that's coming up in a minute. And with that in hand, they can look to actually crack open the base towers.
Absolutely, and soul point, something that's on the table. 10,000 gold lead now for the SPTC. And I mean, I was speaking from draft onwards, right? The Pantheon pick, kind of the pivotal one here, the volatile one, and it definitely has paid off so far. It hasn't even died, but DNK with another engage, he just now dropping into Shogun. Tidal Wave to disengage, but the damage is still being done. It's kind of a extended fight with Slater getting the first kill on towards Guri, but this is definitely something that they can look for. Froggy going for this huge Stasis flank with the Ring of Frost, and they're kiting it back on the side of SPTC right now. And they actually go for another Ring of Frost. Froggy actually trying a lot there, and Shogun gets the kill into Slater. This is so huge actually. Maybe SGB still having some sort of life in this game. And it's Palette escaping as well as Cassandra. Well, actually, Cassandra directly towards this. Double kill for Hasmet. And Hasmet dies, but a huge price being paid.
Full health, though.
Yeah, one also died to the Nami wave as well. And the objective body is being claimed. SGB are fighting back.
Okay, that's a huge fight from SGB coming out on the skin of their teeth. I'm a little bit... There's just so much distance, but DNK got dragged so far back. This is going to mean they're going to be able to pick up a dragon as well. Objective bounty is going to balance the gold right back. It's already shrunk down about 5,000. They're going to bring it right back even more. Don't you love this system? It's so good. They win one team fight, and they shore the gold bleed up by I don't know how much it is right now. I can't do math on stream, but we just see, despite the ability of Paulette to follow up on DNK, Shogun covers so much distance, gets the flash afterwards. And they actually get Guri, but it's beautiful re-engage from Froggy, beautiful work on the stasis, able to find so much damage, so much CC. But it doesn't actually hurt too much for SBTC as they go right back to the Baron. They were delayed but not denied.
Yeah, they were
This
delayed.
was a bit of fun.
And
I
speaking,
thought Emperor might have been able to clean up here.
might be either way. This shutdown mechanic is definitely playing a huge favor for SGB right now, and I gotta say, they kind of deserve it, right? I mean, they were 10,000 gold down, fighters engaged, Froggy played a very good team on this Lissandro. I mean, he was in there always, using both his stasis to really just buy more time and space, using the Ring of Frost, using his own ultimate to lock those targets down on the SBTC side, and I think I understand why some people hate these shutdown or bounty mechanics just to come back into this game, but if you're that far ahead as SPTC was, you definitely deserve to lose a lot more than you should when you are in an even state. So no, Baron on their side, yeah, they just try the same thing again, but SGB now I think the point to fight back.
Yeah, no, the shutdown was the bounties overall were not actually as damning as I was expecting them to be after the bounty swing from that. In the last series we saw, I was expecting this to be much bigger, but it's with the Baron picked up off the back of it. It's only about 8k difference, maybe 9k now with this turret falling. If I'm gonna try and look for something, DNK charging things up. They crack the tower. They don't crack the inhibitor. They have to be a little bit careful. They want to try and crack the second one, but it's still very dangerous to step up against all the CC that SGB can throw out. This Frelio duo, these two sisters, they can do a lot. They can do a lot of damage, so it's all up to Emperor on the side.
Yeah, and now Shogun is back in the lead against Slater as well, right? I mean, we just now see him finishing his Navois and also the components for the next item. Slater having skipped the rapid fire, but still the push coming from side of SPTC, getting this Baron empowered push, getting the second inhibitor down, or the first inhibitor in general, but the base now being opened on two sides means SGB now definitely needs one more good fight, maybe even two, to really come back into this game yet again. They had this one comeback fight earlier, and SPTC not really having the synergy on the blast plant right there, looking kind of funny, especially with the chem tank empowered blast plants, knocking them all away and splitting them apart. And now Foggy actually leaving this wave to Shogun just shows that they really want Shogun to carry this game, right? Him hitting 4 items would be so huge for them, as well as SE right now. Yeah, they still are like the team that is in the driver's seat here, but they definitely show that they also sometimes make driving mistakes, right? So SGB still in hope that they can turn this game around.
Yeah, we have his 4th item complete from Shogun. He's sitting a whole item ahead of Slater, but it hurts a little bit less when you look at the rest of the map. Sure, it's 3 items apiece for the Dio1 and Froggy, but that's a Rabadon's and a Shadow Flame compared to a Zhonya's and a Morello's. Much more expensive items, much more impactful. If you look at the top lane, it's 2 items ahead for Enpa on this Gwen 504. This is so much damage that comes out of this top laner. If the Gwen ever gets the opportunity, it's a little bit harder to execute now as you can't find a flank into the enemy base. They're just going to try and push up. They're going to try and get the second inhibitor. And from there, they will have a lot of pressure to set up for the Dragon Soul.
They absolutely have. And here we see DNK being onto Guri. And Hasmut trying to get the disengage onto his Palette. They might just try to get him. Yeah, Palette also instantly getting blown up, but also Foggy falling very, very low. But the kills are coming through for SGB's side, and they also just now finish off Enpo, who can't really teamfight, and Foggy actually lives so far. DR1 with an overforced engage, nobody really dying. But here's Slater actually flashing forward, getting 1 kill, but now he's in the status. He can probably get focused down by the enemy AD carry. Shogun really getting this kill. But also Shogun dies. It's all of a sudden very much in place. And Taki now getting chopped, he should die to DR1 here. But does he actually do so? Everforce now snaring him. DNK with the follow-up, but they need to hurry. The cavalry is there for sort of SGB, and they can't even kill Taki. Actually can kill Taki, but now Guri and Foggy, 2 vs 2 in the bot lane. Guri now dropping very low. DNK missing the vault breaker, probably ending up in nobody really dying right here. And SPTC,
this is so silly.
It's a 3v3 from so far ahead. They should definitely worry about it, and SGB are biting back.
Oh, and the minions saved the tower. If that tower had fallen, that would have been worth it. Actually, they're going to pick up this dragon on top of it all, so it is, in the end, a win for the side of SBTC.
They don't deserve it, though.
Not quite how they wanted it to go. Definitely not. They definitely don't deserve it that much.
They are 10k up,
and
I'm making these fights look close. It's so disgusting, and this game doesn't have a winner. I mean, and I am usually like one of the color casters who's more on the glass half full, more on the positive side. Here we see again how it really played out. Yeah, Froggy with disengage on towards Palette. He's kind of falling off on the puncher right now.
Just plays so far back. He doesn't get any real autos attacking.
Yeah, Shogun can free hit while Slater can't hit at all. It's so disgusting, right? And the other one just now landing the charm. Shogun can easily cleanse this one. Slater flashing for 1 kill, but he shouldn't really do this one, I think, because Slater is so important in these team fights. Can't really hit him, right? And now the Chemsol being on their side.
Give it up for Divine Sundra healing on DNK though.
Definitely. And also like in these scrappy extended like 1 minute team fights, the Chemsol absolutely does a lot. I mean, Chemsol definitely being criticized in general, but if like everyone drops like to half HP, then it definitely makes it that SE just can keep being alive and also dish out fantastic amounts of damage. So this one definitely being a good helper for them. They are now 7k up again, but they do not convince me in these fights whatsoever. Maybe now with the soul they can still do it, but like mechanically and from the approach itself, they are far from convincing this game, despite probably winning this.
This time they've dragged SGB out of the map, out of their base. They can look for better angles now. They gonna force them back. I feel SBTC should be able to. Don't want to push against SGB a bit too much. They want to leave an angle for Emperor to get the wraparound. Instead, Emperor's gonna be part of the damage dealing on the Baron. It's a lot of damage is going down very quickly, but still no
but
real.
Kubi can just walk in.
Out. Okay, or he could just leave.
The other one just getting this Baron is also like something that's very clumsy. Like DNK should smite secure this one. It actually doesn't happen. It's so after too much really. Either way, they are pushing up this top lane right now. Mid lane, of course, getting the free priority from this Baron or from this inhibitor minions.
Okay,
and DNK stopping recalls. Or just fight it. But can they really fight it? I mean,
is gonna just kill them, and now it's gonna be a little bit harder. Emperor's, sorry, not Emperor. Yeah, no,
they fight without the AD carry.
Alone. They just tried to stop the backs, but it's not like you had an exposed Nexus. It was such a weird decision. It's a 1-for-1 overall, and they get the inhibitor in the bot lane. They're gonna get the inhibitor in the middle, in the top lane. They can get the inhibitor in the mid lane. And maybe they find the win in the 4v4, but it's Taki for the top laner. Now it's a big back on to DNK. That's so much damage though. DNK will die. Slater is putting out the hurt. He has potential for a pullback. Can't quite find the angle onto Froggy. But still, the minions are streaming in. SBTC are going to back off because they lost another player. But, oh man, SBTC get it together. One call. Only one thing at a time.
I think it's fine if you put like one member to stop the bases and the rest just pushes top lane, but like having a half screwed up team fight without the AD carry in the late game doesn't really convince me as well. And they kind of, that's a disgusting thing in this one, right? They still kind of end up winning it as they, with the Chemsol, the Baron, they get all the free inhibitors, and that alone should net you the win, because it's like having half the Nexus destroyed, as you can just now walk in minion race with 6 super minions. This alone should be very hard to defend, and now with all the champions being there, should be even harder for SGB. So this one likely looking to be a loss on their side. More than 3 minutes of double super minion pressure in every single lane should also be potentially an elder for the side of SBTC, but likely not even go this far, right? SBTC should be able to walk into the base.
It shouldn't.
With Baron empowered, double super minion waves, and this alone should just mean the end of SGB. However, in this team fights, SGB, I like them much more.
Okay, yeah, they've been putting on a good show so far, but this should really be too much to crack. Good culling coming out of Shogun. It's gonna half health Emperor. It's gonna do a bit to Slater. Froggy looks for the claw, doesn't follow up on it. Now the waves are pushing in. They've got the Baron buff. up super creeps. It's all or nothing for SGB. If they sit back, it's gonna fall apart, but good reactions from Slater. He's gonna keep it safe. Collapse onto Froggy, but he can buy so much time. Harsmet is gonna take a lot of damage. And on the other side, Shogun is doing his best to fight the minions. Harsmet lives forever, but DNK lives a little bit more. And now the re-engage comes on from Paulette. Froggy's down. There goes the Nexus Tower. So you can just end the game. They're trying to kill Shogun. They're trying to save Tier 1, but just hit the Nexus, please. Okay, top shit, thank you. The longer that lasted, the more I was worried SGB was going to bring it back somehow. But SBTC, it took longer than it needed, but they clean out that first game win. And that is a fantastic, that's a good start to the series as we're going to get a quick look at this damage graph. Man, that's a lot of damage coming up from both sides, but tanks to tank them, lots of healing, and just all in all, it worked out pretty well. It sort of came together.
Did it? I mean, on the one side you have SGB having Lucian Nami playing this early game. Yeah, it was a win. I would have summed it up like, despite their best efforts, SBTC finally ended up winning this game. I mean, they tried really hard not to win this game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they kind of got it. I mean, of course, not the cleanest one for sure. But I mean, winning as SGB is winning as SGB. You definitely are taking this one. And gotta say, for the side of game 2, maybe just not pick Lucian Nami. Don't in the early game as much as SGB did. And you are in definitely strong contention to win at least the game here. I mean, SGB are down in the standings, but they are in the recent trend a stronger team, I would say, and also in this game showed that in team fighting in general, they are definitely up to the task and more than that one. But as with that one, we are going to a quick break. I will restart the stream, restart my computer, and try to fix all these performance issues that definitely have been, dealing some damage to your experience and mine as well. So we will see each other in like 5 or 6 minutes. The stream will go off, but don't go anywhere, as we will be right back for game 2.
Welcome back. We had a pretty intense game there coming in from SBTC and Saigon Buffalo. An immaculate start from one team, but the team fighting was exceptional from the others. And despite everything, SBTC comes out on top with one game advantage. With the game advantage, we have to be ready to see how does Buffalo bounce back. I'm Mabinogi, this is Crency. Once again, it was a much closer game than it should have been by any rights with that early game, as I said. And Crency, what do you want to see from the Buffalo? Changes in draft, changes in attitude into the game to try and bring it back and take us to game 3.
I don't quite know what I want to see, but I know what I do not want to see, and that's Lucian Nami again for Shogun and Taki. Because while in general I didn't really hate the Lucian Nami bot lane, but now I'm kind of, I've seen enough of it, and I think it's not even that strong anymore. And I think Shogun and Tagi, they can play different things, but we have seen so many things from them. They even played Tristana bot lanes and smashed Gumayusi and carry with it. But in this first game, they actually banned Tristana themselves, which is kind of ironic for me. What I also could see them playing is like playing fresh bot lanes with like Jinx fresh, Aphelios fresh. They are definitely capable of playing something more creative, or even like the Zeridulo lanes, something like these. There's so many things that you can play right now in the bot lane, or just taking the Xayah for yourself. I mean, Xayah is such a strong AD carry, but now they were on blue side. They B1'd the Juani for Gubi of all things, and now for this game 2 draft, which we are now about to see, we might just see the change we want to see as SGB heads over to the wet side this time and can now figure out some stuff on their own. Maybe even they just go for the Xayah, but they probably don't, because SBTC, I like the drafts in recent time. They just go for the first pick Xayah themselves, and that's the strongest AD carry on the patch. I mean, we just now hinted at it, right? Jinx fresh, Aphelios fresh. Pick something like this, please. Just give me anything else and not Lucian Nami.
Yeah, we're seeing the same bans coming out from the side of SBTC. Saigon Buffalo will change it up. Putting in the Gwen ban, they do not want to deal with Emperor having that sort of threat once again, but this time they want to give Taki a lot more agency. They pick up the Rakan, take that away from Paulette, break up the duo. Now whether they want to, we have to see where they're going to throw it in next. Picking up a jungler would make a lot of sense, and it's going to be the Wukong this is actually Guru's first Wukong game. And it's the most played jungler in the but I'm pretty sure, but Guri has not played it yet. So there we go.
Yeah, it's probably the most played jungler in the world in the last 6 months or something. It's Wukong. It's since he can Warrior Trickster over walls, the UTW clone for it. He's like one of the primary junglers in general, and also something that we see every time. And now DNK looking in the Vi against it, something that I don't really like in general, as Wukong is definitely weaker against AP junglers. But I mean, Vi is still in her own right, a champion with decent lockdown in basically anything except for Xayah, and Xayah is on their own side, so the Xayah pick already makes a good chunk of dance for them, and could just be paired in with other strong mid laners, as the Ari is now getting locked in, and now on the side of Shogun, maybe you want to pick the Zeri now, especially against the Vi, which sounds ironic at first, but you can also pull in the Vi with you if he dares to use cease and desist against you. You can just spark search back, and they actually agree with me there, and go for the Zeri right now. Gotta say though, now we can ban away the Lulu, ban away maybe even the Yumi on the side of SPTC to make all these strong enchanters bad for them.
Disabled, but
Yumi's still disabled. Then they can ban away Renata as well. So all the strong enchanters will be gone, and then what would you really have? Play Karma with Zeri? Play Zillion with Zeri?
Actually, you probably don't want to ban those, considering there's a Rakan already locked in.
Oh, you're smarter than me. That's good. You look at the screen.
Yeah, it's a little known secret. So instead, they're going to pretty much do a similar strategy to the last time. They're going to ban the Talia. They will probably ban what was it as well? I think it was the Rise was the ban. They didn't want that matchup. They want this mid jungle duo to play out as close to last game as possible, because DK and DL1 were able to get huge advantages in that early game as a duo. But now, I'm interested to see where it goes. We have to see what Paulette has in store as his answer into the Rakan. That's still sitting on the table. It won't be the Blitzcrank, we know that for sure. As Buffalo takes that away alongside the Fiora. Don't want Emperor having a carry at all.
And they log in the LeBlanc. I'm kind of sad that Vex isn't playable right now, because otherwise I would have loved Foggy Vex right here, with the Lissandra being taken away. Realistically, it would have been the same as the Lissandra really is, and the Lissandra did lose in this game 1, but Foggy, I think, played a very fine game of it in general. But so we see the LeBlanc again, LeBlanc into Ari, kind of a skill matchup. I think on the lower end of competitive play, it's probably Ari favored. On the higher end, it's more LeBlanc favored, so maybe Foggy can show off some great games with this pick. I mean, that was Howard in the first game already, so maybe his time to shine. And DR1 in this split in general, not really the strongest mid laner. Had a good game 1, I gotta say, though, on the Ari itself, so as well as he gets to pick that one again for now. So now the support pickup is left to the table. Could be the Galio, which is just the Howard, but I would definitely hate it. I hate Galio.
Yeah.
Actually, just pick Pantheon again. Why not? Pantheon would work great.
Yeah, like, if you're doing the Galio support, you need to do it as that sort of flex, in my opinion. Like, you bait in a good mid lane matchup. If you're just picking it outright, I don't think it's good at all. But that's what Paulette's going to go for. Hussman will finish it out with the Jax, going to feel comfortable playing that into Emperor's Cassante. And all around, I think it's a much better draft from the side of Buffalo, and with how well they were team fighting from 10,000 gold down in game 1, this looks like it might come together a lot better for them this time.
Might just be the case as they log in the Jax for the side of Hasmet, a good matchup against the Cassante for now, so potentially for them winning solo lanes as long as Froggy gets his stuff together and actually beats DR1 in the skill matchup, and also a bot lane that definitely doesn't scale poorly, with Zeri being there over basically any AD carry. I would have preferred Zeri with an enchanter. I mean, I mentioned those quite earlier, with ignoring the Rakan pickup being already there. But, I mean, Zeri is definitely a champion that just has to be looked at for in general. Gotta say though, on side of SPTC, they have a strong early game this time. I mean, it's Ari, Vi in jungle duo, Cassante beating the Jax for the first few levels, and the Xayah in the bot lane. So if SPTC fires on all cylinders and has a clean early game, they might just run away with the game right here and close the series out to 0. But I mean, if they make one mistake, overstep once, SGB is daring to outscale them.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher for them this time around for the side of SPTC Esports. But if they get such a lead like they did last time, maybe they can still bring it home. It's all up to this early game. Can they bring it in? Can DNK and DR1 repeat their performances as we move on to the Summoner's Rift for the second game of the second series, the second day of week 6?
Yeah, second day of week 6, and for SBTC, also very important game for them. I mean, assuming they win, they just make a big room between themselves and Sagan Buffalo, the team that's daring to contest those playoff spots. So, SBTC, yeah, the tools in their hand to make it a good one. Now, on towards the Rift we go. No early game aggression at the level 1, of course. I mean, we could actually see it with those supports, right? With Palette being on the Galio, Taki on the Vulcan. They have decently strong level 1s in the support position, I gotta say. But, I mean, you don't really want to risk everything at this level 1 mark. Just don't go for flips that you can just easily lose just by being a bit unlucky and just having the wrong reaction time or something. So, not really something they are really going for. As we see the junglers really going for their first early game rounds. Actually, it will be DNK going for his red buff on the blue side first, so he will actually path towards the Cassante and might just pay Husband an early visit at the 3 to 4 minute mark. And on the side of Gui, he also kind of maybe expected one that Vaughn will want to cover his top laner to prevent any dive or gank shenanigans in general happening.
Yeah, we could also see it's the red buff side, so you can always see the three camps into a bot lane gank, that sort of thing, things to that effect. Lots of trading going on early in the mid lane. Want to try and force the enemy laner to try and back early, force that teleport when they don't want to. Currently, it's DR1 getting the bad end of the trade so far, so it's a much better showing this time around from Froggy being able to actually take the pressure to DR1 on the Ari. Can Enpal land this Q? No, it can't, so Husband walks away a little bit happier. Now, yeah, just going to see as the trading continues. Palette missing out on the Hero's Punch, the Justice Punch.
Justice Punch. Justice Punch. You're with me. I mean, if you don't know an ability name, just ask away, or just say the wrong one, and I will correct you instantly. As that's like the one thing I know. I mean, if there's some things I don't know, but there's this one thing I do know, so might just well enjoy this one and live with it. As we see the level 2 push coming out, right? Galio and Zaya, of course, being very strong in this one, especially against the Zeri, right? I mean, a lot of AoE damage to the wave being done by the Winds of War. Palette, however, missing his Justice Punch, so. Actually, he's still with the for level 2.
I get it, don't rub it in.
I didn't even mean that one. I just wanted to highlight Palette missing a spell. The Galio E, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. They are only known as Champion and QWER. These are names officially. No, we're going to see a bit of setup potentially from DNK. This would be very aggressive to pull off. But Palette, he starts it off with a taunt. It should be a nice follow-up. Exhaust comes down. Taki going to force the flash out. And
oh no!
Can't quite get it. It comes out just in time, but now Slater's flashed too far. He's going to just fall down. Husband is here, has the flash, gets that clean up kill. And it's a huge flub from the side of SBTC. It's first blood and a second kill to the side of the Buffalo.
Yeah, also just well spread out, and I wasn't quite expecting this jungle path outside of DNK. I think neither was SGB, and I gotta say it wasn't really good. I mean, they tried to combine the Shield of the Wind, the taunt by the side of Palette to get Taki down pretty quickly. Also the Vault Breaker, now we see it in the replay, landing on towards him, but they struggled to kill him really quickly, also through the bone plating being there, and at the end of the day, it was just Shogun revolving himself with that first kill. Husband TPing to the defense side, able to secure the kill with a flash counter strike into the bonk. That means 1 kill to Husband, 1 kill to Shogun. And those are the ones that really want to have the head start in the early game, as they are scaling so brilliantly into this game. It's an absolute disaster for the side of SE. I just gotta call it out. I mean, I think we say this word too often, and it just everything falls apart so quickly, but even DR1 also in the mid lane, but falling down to 4 in the CS department, a rare sight to see, and in every lane there's already a slight disadvantage with the comp that should snowball.
Yeah, it's so... You can't do this. Look, okay, Slater, I understand why in most circumstances you're thinking, okay, it's a Zeri, you're gonna just sit there, you're gonna play a call, you're gonna scale happy. But if your plan is to do a level 3 gank, you gotta start Doran's, or at least a longsword. Like, you need that extra damage. As DR1, as you talk a little bit bad about him, he comes back with a pretty decent move there. Emperor's gonna actually try and make the most of that teleport away from Harsmet to get a good bit of CS lead, put some pressure down onto this turret. Should be able to secure that plate for himself pretty soon if he can get this wave to crash properly.
Probably not with this wave alone.
Trying his best.
He can't really like melee walk up against Harsmet. I mean, Harsmet is down in experience a little bit due to this teleport play, right? He lost a lot of CS for that one. So that's like the consolation prize, right? He got the kill, but at least like it's a huge CS lead for Emperor, which will equalize later on in the game eventually if Harsmet happens to scale next to him. Right now they should be like probably around even in gold, maybe even Emperor still being a tad ahead one, as he is very short of completing this plate, but not in the position to really get more out of it. Harsmet, however, if he lets his counter strike, as much as be a dead Emperor. One leap strike more. Oh,
dead Emperor. There's no flash, but there is on Harsmet to follow, so Emperor does get away just. Yeah, a bit of a greedy recall there. Good charm will land, and in the bot lane, the fighting keeps happening. The back step of the punch gets interrupted by Taki, but that's a big blade caller, and that's a pick onto Slater. Onto Shogun rather, and now Taki has to try and book it. But in the mid lane, Froggy just picks up a double, and all the woes are never mind for SGB. This mid jungle has just not come together.
This just tells me that Observer 2 definitely hates Froggy and doesn't want to show him off with his double kill, as we see the another play. That's how I like the replay, but you see the charm from DR1, definitely something that where they really went confident, I guess. And Froggy is on 200 HP, and he turned this play around somehow. Probably will land the chance right here. He goes for the distortion, into the chain, DNK is wall breaking out, and he just gets blown apart. Froggy with a good flash right here, and Guri together with Froggy. How many HP does he have? Like 10? Must be.
Okay, look, that's
Froggy is insane.
So rude. That is so rude that he didn't actually get the kill there. Now, DNK has to try and get something back. No distortion, no ultimate either. They're not going to quite have enough to get through there because DNK doesn't have his ultimate to work with. But look at this jungle gap just opening up. That play in the bot side, considering a backfight, has given so much space for Guri. He's built up 10 CS, so that's a couple of camps ahead. And with that double kill, well, the double assist in pocket, he's just now going to be monstrously ahead of DNK. DNK still has the ability to pivot the build into a Black Cleaver this time.
That's a practical string, right? Divine Thunder and Black Cleaver have almost the same item build, right? It's Caulfields, a Kindle Gem, and then you just have to decide. Do you go Oshin, do you go another longsword, and do you finish it off like this? And yeah, in the Divine Thunder rush race, it's DNK, no, it's DNK being firmly behind, so yeah, might just pivot to the Black Cleaver. Either way, Ocean Drake number 1, or Drake number 1 rather, being picked up by the side of SGB. Bot lane definitely being something that can now contest the priority a bit better, with Shogun getting some levels in. He did get killed earlier on in this play, where you got kind of being the short end of the stick to go with Slater. But also Emperor, DNK punishing at least, getting the Swift Herald as a cross-map play. Right now I think that Drake definitely is being up to par to the early Herald, as the Herald charge got definitely nerfed on. Either way, in the bigger picture, SE not really getting these big trades going on, but they aren't that far behind anymore, right? It's 700 gold, it's 1 Drake, they have this Herald charge that they can really use, and there's still playmaking potential to make use of this strong early game composition.
Okay, D1 is going to be just fine. Pink Ward will spot out Guri, and we do, as you say, have to see how this Rift Herald is utilized. Put in the bot lane, maybe snowball Slater ahead to get that early Gale Force, try and get that carry rolling, who has been so consistent for the team in recent weeks and recent matches. Now, Husband's going to try and do something, but Emperor's playing it really safe. He's playing it very well. And Guri can't find the aim.
He absolutely can't. And no Emperor here. Is he trying to freeze the wave? He actually isn't, right? No, he actually does. As he tries to deny as much as possible from Husband. I mean, we adjusted earlier, right? Santa in the laning phase quite strong compared to the Jacks. So definitely something that they can at least work with. And you are now down a little bit of gold against scaling composition, which ultimately, of course, seems kind of doomed. But you are still, like, on paper, like a stronger early game composition. So if there's like a fight happening like right now before these power spikes really kick in, I mean, just look at Shogun's item build, look at what Foggy has in the table, look at what Husband and Guri have. They don't even have mythics completed either way or anything like this, so you can still easily win those fights with all your playmaking potential. So nothing is really gone on the bigger end on the side of SPTC, especially in the volatile league like VCS, where teams go for fights they maybe even shouldn't want to go for. But Husband not letting the counter strike, this might just be a dead end yet again. Or what?
No, Unpa can't quite get the all-out across the wall, so Guri will end up taking him down a little bit further. You saw the play. If he pulled someone across the wall, that probably is an outplay for Unpa. Tragedy. Tragic, it doesn't shorts it a little bit. And it's
the misery.
The side of SGB.
Either way, Foggy now in.
Yep.
Yeah, now Tier 1 and Foggy landing some blows next to each other. Foggy actually landing the chain. This could be more. Either way, DNK and Taki also having a little bit of a ball, but nobody really dropping the HP bar because it's a fight against the Vulcan. Not really anything happening over there. As now we see the first mythic completed, and it's actually Iceborne Gauntlet for Emperor. Very cheap tank item and definitely very strong on the Cassante. He got the quick recall, forced out of Guri and Husband early on. Husband actually getting the assist and Guri getting 1 kill. So the kills are very evenly distributed on the SGB side. I think they very much enjoy this one.
Shogun stepping forward onto Slater, forcing them back. I'm interested in looking at the mid lane, seeing Dia basically try and match Froggy on these CDR boosts, trying to, I guess, match the wave clear and push as much as possible. Instead of going for something a bit safer on the Merc treads, I think against LeBlanc, because LeBlanc is absolutely ridiculous right now. You kind of want the extra defense, you kind of want the ability to get out of chains perhaps a little bit earlier. But it's not going to be the case. Going to try and play for safety. Emperor will grab another plate. He's doing very alright for himself in this top lane. He's been ganked a little bit by Guri.
I gotta say, he got ganked twice.
Has stolen something back.
Yeah, he got ganked twice, only down 1 kill. I had more than 20 CS plus plates, and I mean, of course, there was his TP play by Hasmet. Overall, still like very dominant Cassandra performance so far by Emperor. Can't really complain in that direction. As we see the Rift Herald charge being done to the bot lane, will be 2 plates, maybe a bit more even, with the combination being really there. But yeah, we'll just drop the turret down to half HP. And I mean, the old Herald charge would have done a little bit more, but this one still doing quite fine. And overall, second Buffalo ahead 1000 gold, got the first Drake, will probably make a play towards the second one as now SE is resetting, so the priority in the bot lane will probably shift in their favor. Maybe even the play that they are going towards, but probably not, as Pilot and DNK are very hard to be engaged on.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to see how they can pull it together. This shouldn't be an engage, but it's also kind of hard to. They don't have the best wave in the world. They managed to piece it together to allow the time for Slater to return. But yeah, just SGB finding smaller advantages across the map, a wave here and there. Onto some of the carries, onto Shogun in particular, just much better map rotations and getting kills and playing things out. Now they're going to get themselves a second dragon unless SBTC can respond, but with Ari chained to mid lane, the bot lane only now being able to leave, no real hope. Yeah,
they can't really do anything about it, as this one will be the second Drake for some SGB. Their combination is scaling quite nicely, and that's the thing, right? Do they just keep stacking Drakes and snowballing over that, despite being the scaling comp? Or do they just now play completely back foot and just, wait and scale, give SBTC maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 Drakes, and then just bash their heads in with all the late game scaling they have in their composition? It's both approaches that could be viable, but I think they probably, as long as they aren't contested, just take Drake after Drake. Well, what's stopping them?
Yeah, and especially I think with the Mountain Soul, it's one of those dragons that you kind of don't want to give the individual ones over if you can avoid it. You don't want to just concede them. Maybe you don't do a complete fight. Okay, Emperor with the bait pulls Harsmid back under it, but Taki is here. So is the teleport. It's a good force coming out from Emperor, and as long as he stays safe and he has a Slater to dash to, that just means the teleport forced. Unfortunately for SBTC, Frankie kind of wanted to be here anyway for this Rift Herald.
Seems to be the case. This Froggy, yeah, like, he just keeps hunting, right? I mean, another chain.
Oh my
It's a
God,
support Galio. He can't kill him, but he can at least annoy him enough to get him out of there. And this nets the second drift arrow to the side of SGB. They just get every major objective aside from a single one. That was a consolation prize while the first week was happening. So they're definitely very happy with where this game is really going. And them looking towards a game 3, maybe potentially, if they can really keep on this tempo. And even if they can't, but they aren't really forced to do much with their composition, but they are still just looking so good. And SPTC, also in the back of their minds, might just really try to figure out what could really work in a potential game 3 here.
It's just this LeBlanc has had so much control over mid lane. Dia1 has not been able to put any pressure down. He's just ducking in and out of the jungle, making its life hell for DNK, making life hell for Palette. Just pure control. This champion got so much extra power now. It's so much of it has always been a nuisance. You have to commit entire compositions to cut down a LeBlanc, and now every so often. Fortunately for SBTC, they don't have a great anti-LeBlanc composition, though. Oh no! Okay, the ultimate does land from the Galio, and that will actually secure the shutdown. Unfortunately, it goes onto DNK rather than the Ahri, but that looked like it was about to fall apart.
That's a juicy shutdown right there. I mean, Froggy definitely shouldn't step up like this and use all the mobility tools on the LeBlanc to really escape from those situations. Either way, shutdown being onto DNK, I mean, it's still early enough in the game where I would say that the jungler can definitely make good use of it. I mean, definitely a mid-game spiking champion on the Vi, so maybe the difference for her to get mercs or not get mercs or something, or maybe just get the next damage item going, which might just be a Black Cleaver or a Sterox or anything along those lines, or maybe Death Stance or whatever the kids build these days. Yeah, that's kind of bad. But if you just spend the money for a Kindle Gem and you just gonna go to Juicy Shutdown, much rather give the kill to the Ahri. But I don't think that they really had the choice here. Just deal as much damage as possible. Just kill that damn LeBlanc before she escapes. So a kill is a kill. He just now finished his plated steel caps. And the turret on top lane as well. So Goldlaw basically being dead even. Froggy definitely dropping the ball a little bit here.
I do think the anathema chains would actually be a good pickup though. It's the soul magic damage of the LeBlanc, so you don't have to really invest in magic resist. And if you land any CC onto her, she gets CC for significantly longer, and LeBlanc is a pain in the ass to land CC on, so you might as well make it count. So and plus they built that last game, so that's what I expect. So go on to Froggy once again. The follow-up from Dia1 is fantastic. They can't kill him. Yes, they can. Dia1 picks it up this time around, but the collapse from the rest of SGB is good. They pick up Slater on the back end. It's a 1-for-1. Teleport has come in for Enpa. There was a good wraparound. Rift Herald will be dropped. Dia has to leave. So with this pressure, that should be mid tower.
Not quite, as they can't really go for the demolish proc, but either way, let's not work for that. The fight is still going strong.
It's gonna keep going. Dia's has returned and can clear the wave. Harsmet gonna get nabbed by the side of the Everfrost, but not rooted in place. It's a health advantage for SGB though, as the dragon is set to spawn, so may come out okay. As it's a good pick onto the LeBlanc here.
Is it though? I mean, they spent like virtually half an hour to really kill him, and at the end of the day, it is actually Slater falling down, giving a shutdown over to Harsmet. So it's actually gold-wise also worth outside of SGB, and them trading evenly definitely something that they are fine with anyway, as the next wave is now spawning. Also, they just now gave them a good opportunity to get this Rift Herald crash down. I mean, mid lane T1 turret's still standing, so it's probably at the end of the day kind of fine for them, but they will likely lose this third Drake right now, as DNK is not even looking close to contest it right now.
They're not even trying.
The other members are...
I
actually think they should try. I mean, they are still like almost even in the game. They are on good, decent mid-game champions, and this giving away with no resistance whatsoever definitely feels like uncalled for. And now SGB is on soul point. It's a singular mountain drake, and you earlier addressed it, right? Singular mountain drakes are like the strongest singular drakes in general, right? They give you so much resistances, make it harder for Ahri to get resets in these fights, to get another spirit rush off, make this one combo burst potential of the Vi plus any carry very much weaker, and SGB is living happily right now.
Yeah, we just saw Dia1 pivot straight to the top lane. It feels like either they didn't expect SGB would go for the dragon straight away, or they just yeah, we're willing to say, no, we don't need it. We can let ourselves get put onto this clock where we have to fight every 5 minutes. And you should never want to let yourself get put onto the clock. You should at least attempt to send DNK over, maybe for a look in, but they just didn't even. They acted as if the pit wasn't there. And now SGB, they still have a 1,000 gold lead. That hasn't shifted, so that's a bonus for the side of SBTC. But they pick up that extra dragon. They have that point of pressure now forever. And Buffalo are just kind of fully in control of the map, always making the proactive plays, always being the ones to call the decisions, and SBTC are just looking a little bit lost and behind.
Yeah, and they aren't even that behind, but it feels like they're like 5,000 gold down, but it's like 1,000 between those two teams at 20 minutes, which is like pretty whatever. And they just feel like they are so far down, not really feeling any confidence, not having very good vision control, while they still actually should be in a position to at least contest these ones. I mean, this like just now kind of speaks volume, and they weren't even aware and were just respecting SGB, maybe tad too much, maybe even a bit fearing too much there. As the next wave would spawn in 3 minutes, Baron just now having spawned as we hit the 20-minute mark. So that's at least theoretically an option for any of those teams to at least just maybe start it off and look at what the reaction from the other team really would be. But of course, with those compositions, can't really rush down the Baron very well. I mean, the Zeri is kind of decent with that one, but it's not like they have Kai'Sa, Cassiopeia, or any champion like this that can easily melt these ones. No Viego also on any team. So Baron probably not a topic for right now, just the vision around it being something that's a theoretical setback. And now Hasmet looking at him in the side lane. He now recalled, finishes Black Cleaver and will start to maybe dominate this Xanta matchup right now, as he kind of went through the tough part of the matchup, which is the first few levels and the first 2 items.
Yeah, with the Black Cleaver now in hand, Input kind of has to be a little bit more careful if he pushes out too far, but if he's just playing catch the wave, he should be pretty fine. Has enough wave clear to make it a bit harder for Harsman to actually punch a tower down around him. Top lane turret will fall with no one around. Actually, no, I think Froggy might have catched the local gold with the extended range. But, so that's a bit more gold to the pockets of SGB. It's a catch onto Rakan. That's a freebie over to D1.
Yeah, absolutely is. And this shouldn't happen, really. This just shows SUV also on their side by looking like a very controlled, composed team. Also at their jitters. This shouldn't really happen. Now, SC is on the Baron. I think that's a bit overzealous on their side. I mean, they can at least start and watch the reaction, right? And Hasmet and Enper. Enper in the all-out. I think Enper could still win this one. He's also on 2 items at least. I mean, remember, he just now finished Thornmail, so the healing would be denied to some extent. But SE can't finish this Baron. You have to pull away. I think that they also knew it before. It was just like, if they do nothing about it, we just get Baron. If they do something about it, we just pull off and we lose a bit of time, a bit of HP bars. Still not the end of the world. Galatato, it might be as they lose mid lane tier 1 to it for that one. It was low before it. Now it's so low that it's 0 HP. It's gone. And it's the most important to it, considering your overall map control.
Couldn't quite. They almost had a LeBlanc pick, but it didn't quite come together. And it's just, once again, SGB knew that SBTC couldn't actually finish it, so they only sent Guri and Froggy. Those were the only 2 necessary to scare them off because of the combo potential. And then Shogun just preps the mid wave, takes that tower down, and more and more pressure to the side of SGB. Shogun just wandering from tower to tower. He's pretending he's Caitlyn. And now with that, that's going to be actually a good pick on a Froggy. I was about to say, he has a Banshee's Veil. He's going to be a lot harder to pick. They just kill him. They got to get a tower as well, and this should be a good setup to take that dragon away and stop the snowball. Hussman's caught. Now he's going to go for a huge counter-strike, and now Zeri's going to tear up the backline, the Cyclone combo. No, they stepped too far. They thought they had a Jax, but they grouped up and let him blow them up. Okay, game's over. SGB just wins.
Yeah. They just forgot one thing, that Shogun is indeed lightning, so he can easily clean up this fight. But very good quickness engage coming through from Taki. I think we will see the replay in a bit, but they just instantly opt for the Baron. Actually, I think they go for Baron and Soul at the same time.
From both sides of the map.
Yeah, Hasmet is following the Soul. I mean, if you can do it, why not? I mean, only Enper would be alive on the other side, that he can't just stop anyone. I think it's kind of greedy to two-man the Baron in general, but I mean, in this situation, why would you really not do it? If they now get Soul, it's Mountain Soul, they get the Baron as well, and yeah, I mean, they were already scaling brilliantly into it. They are 4k gold up, and There's really no win on the whole map for the side of SPTC, and this kind of sad because it started with this, right? The pick about to Froggy, getting the Benches Veil, immediately following up with the Season Desist, getting the kill for Slater even, getting this turret, and now it's the Overforce. They just now stick around for quite too long. Chow to Husband. I also thought this was like a good fight for them, but here, Cyclone, quickness, Shogun is lightning, and he can just clean up this fight with absolute ease. The ultimate's already being blown by SPTC means that they can't really fight back, and yeah, with that, SGB steamroll this fight.
Yeah, that's the situation where you're wishing the charm had missed from DO1, and so you're like, oh, okay, we missed the charm, quickly leave. Do not let Hasmed get the re-engage. But yeah, they can't kill Hasmed. They were pushed too far forward. And he just, they turned it around. And now SGB has Mountain Salt, they have Baron, and it's only 25 minutes into the game. I guess you're probably thinking, at least if you're SPTC, you're looking for your silver lining. They probably can't end before there's a potential for an Elder Flip. And if you can win that Elder Flip, maybe you can win the game.
But if you even get an Elder Flip, right, you would be the team that starts the Elder.
You're realistically hoping you're realistically looking on to game 3 and figuring out what you're going to do there.
Yeah, but I think your best bet is hoping for a fail dive for inside of SGB, where they like tank turrets for way too long, and then you can maybe find a good engage with Featherstorm plus Blade Caller from Slater and pick apart the target. Either way, mid lane inner turret now falling, SGB stampeding over this one, and there's still like some time left on this Baron buff, a bit more than a minute actually, so they can just easily keep forcing on multiple lanes. They also have a Jax on their side, so easily to just at least go for a 1-4 or 1-3-1 composition. They don't have to push it in 5 versus 5. They actually can, but they don't have to. And SGB, now pushing both mid lane and bot at the same time and getting chip damage after damage in with these Baron empowered minions. Means SE has very low changes, and an Elder Flip would be like maybe their second best bet, but I mean, SGB doesn't have to start an Elder ever, so SE would have to start it, and then SGB can either like threaten to end the game or just win the fight or just fight the Elder itself.
Okay, but here's going to be a fight now, probably to end the game. It's going to be a huge setup. The Hero's entrance doesn't actually get onto anyone. Hasmed is going to escape just by the skin of his teeth. It's a huge blade call, but it doesn't matter because Slade is dead, and so is everyone else on SPTC. They've still got Baron. They're going to just send DO1 running, and they can just end the game here. They've got teleport on Froggy. He's going to back and come back in. It's kind of getting betrayed by the minions there, and DNK just leaves.
I don't know why DNK didn't get knocked up there. Either way, it doesn't really matter. And the game is kind of finished. Froggy is finished as well, but it doesn't really matter in the bigger picture. Tiger Buffalo equaling the score at 1-1 with this one, and absolutely stellar from draft to finish. Very good gameplay. The first dive already a disaster for SPTC, and they never fully recovered from there.
Yeah, you're looking at that and you're going, okay, SPTC won game 1. They got a good, strong lead, but they could not. They struggled really hard to close it out. SGB in game 2, they got a pretty healthy lead. They blow it. They get a really good team fight. Snap. The game's over. Absolutely much more dominant showing from SGB this time around. Look at that gold graph. Pretty close, pretty even. Game's over. Pretty much straight away. And
yeah, just like 6 minutes ago, it was like, okay, SGB outscaled, they have the 3 Drakes, but that's basically it. SPTC is still like on potential power spikes, could go for picks and fight around it, but then like, nope, actually not. Shogun was lightning, Zebi makes zap, and everyone dies. But gotta give credit where credit is due, right? I mean, especially the jungle and the support position definitely showing up there. Taki and Gui respectively. Gui also performing on a champion that is not named Talia. Definitely a delight to see. And overall, I mean, Hasmed surviving this Gesandte Jax matchup, also playing to his cards, I gotta say, and SGB making arguments to maybe reverse sweep the series.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see if they can put that together just after this short break as we move on to our final game of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Hello. Here we are. We are VCS English, we are Second Buffalo versus SBTC Esports, or at least that's the game we are casting, and we are right into draft. As I am still Quincy and you are still Mabinogi.
Yeah, that's what's happening. This will be up. This is our last game of the night. We are seeing pretty much nothing change from the side of SBTC and the bands. They are back on red side. Red side 100% win rate so far. Still the same bands as game 2, but coming out from the Buffalo, and they want to lock away that Rakan quick smart. They want to make sure Taki can have that impact on the map.
Absolutely so, and not really anything else of adaptations that we've seen so far. I mean, the Zeri is something that they also played already in game 2, and I think that will be probably taken away by the side of SBTC Esports. They didn't look very confident in punishing this pickup that much, as they are locking in the Zeri right now. But this is very dangerous as I think of it. It might just be Shogun and Taki getting Zaya plus Rakan, and this is definitely a deadly bot lane. The Lovers duo definitely shining through. Usually you want to break open this couple a little bit to deny that synergy, and SGB possibly being in a position to grab this one for themselves, as something like the Vi is still open, something like the Wukong is still open. They can pick what they like more. I don't want to see Sejuani again here. I mean, you could just pair it with the... come on. Come on, DNK. Try a little bit harder. So this, now Zaya plus Wukong, please.
Yeah, so you can potentially flex the Sejuani. Maybe Emper's been sneakily trying that one out in the top lane, but yeah, you think just a Zaya Wukong or even a Zaya Lee Sin, something along those lines would just would work out great for the side of it. Buffalo, there's the Zaya. Gonna give them a little bit more time to think about jungle.
Alright.
Why not pick Talia? You can flex it if you need to.
True. You still threaten the potential Wukong or Vi pickup. All as soon as you that, and it could be Gui's Talia, his best champion. And
yeah,
it is theoretically a pick for Foggy. I mean, it is Foggy champion stylistically, and he has played it before, even with BJ playing. So it definitely makes sense to grab this one right away. And also a good pick into Sejuani. I mean, Sejuani's main asset is just going in with his Arctic Assault, and just denying it with the Unraveled Earth definitely makes her engage a bit less hard, as it just, you know, even chunks her out quite a bit, especially in the early games, Sejuani not being that tanky yet, so not really easy to play around this one on the side of the NK. And now on the side of SBTC, they want to round out their bot lane right away with potentially the Lulu pickup. Zevi Lulu, of course, a very much scaling aspect to their composition, but now SGB, very strong early game on their side, kind of like the roles have flipped from last game. SGB now, if they pick like strong top laner, a strong mid lane or jungler, they can choose whatever they want to have rather. They can maybe snowball and run away with the game.
Okay, the Lulu's going to be picked up, as you say, and now we're going to see where the ban strategy goes. Do you maybe try and ban mid laners in a pretend as a sort of way to think, hey Froggy, you should play this Talia, and in a way, they're sort of doing that. They're banning away the Pantheon, trying to ban away AD mid laners to sort of round out that top side and give Talia that extra threat. And once again, the focus is do not let Emperor have a good matchup against Taskmed comes out from SGB.
I mean, Talia Pantheon has been like a very deadly competition for either bot lane or mid lane jungle duo. We have seen it back in the days from GIF back in Korea all the time. And that's still something, despite the champions being like soft reworked in the time, something that they can still play. Wukong now being taken away, so it's a little bit of both, right? A mid lane ban and also a jungle ban on the side of SBTC to shoehorn SGB's champion pool. So they aren't quite sure yet what they really want to see here. I mean, what my approach would have been maybe just ban out Froggy and then pick something that's good against Talia mid lane, and then just look what Dewey picks up. Could be something that they are just happy with either way. But now on their side, their last pickup, or their R4 pickup to be taken, could just be a tank for the top lane, could just be a good carry champion for Emperor, or just round your mid lane pickup right now. Should be something that works against the Talia, and it will be the Cassiopeia, who kind of fulfilled a similar role, but without the global aspect. Definitely stronger in those 1v1 duels, or even like in these smaller skirmishes in the 2v2 or 3v3. It could work out on their side, but not Shaco, right? No, not Shaco.
Almost
no.
certainly not going to be Shaco.
Yeah.
The Vi
Shaco.
lock-in would be interesting. Just Shaco, yeah. The Vi lock-in would be interesting. It's certainly not what we were expecting, but with that Talia definitely being a favorite of Guri's, but they're just going to take that Jax once again for Hasmed, but this time blind.
They banned Fio, they banned
Have
Cannon.
the Olaf.
They're probably fair about it.
Can Enpa play Olaf?
He probably
Can
could.
play Olaf.
I mean, Olaf is not that hard to play, and it is a champion.
Don't do this!
The self-counter pick.
It's so disappointing!
Yeah, you win early and then you lose. Yeah, just like the same as happened last game, right? Either way, this Jack is against one scaling aspect on the side of SGB that kind of happens to fall, or that kind of can fall in the early game. But other than that, I think they have a well-ordered composition really on their hands. And also, like, if it happens to go late game, it's probably still fine, right? I mean, it's not Gubi in Italia, it is Foggy, but they have so much early game dominance. And even if not, I mean, Zaya Wakan is not really bad late game. I mean, compared to Zevidulu, it kinda is, but it's still like a lane with playmaking potential. Can definitely still strike yet again in the mid game. And I think SGB kind of went away with this draft. I mean, what really are the silver linings for SPTC other than if they do nothing, we just have Zevidulu? That's basically it.
Yes. I mean, I definitely think as SPTC definitely have a nice draft in the sense that if they play it front to back, it's a very, very strong front to back composition. And overall, if I didn't watch the draft in the order that I did, and sort of just see these two team comps as they are, I'm thinking, SG, rather welcome back to us because we had a small issue there in the
Germany issue.
Land.
Sorry.
Yeah, Germany internet, go we. That's good. Trade on to Taki, but Slater and Paulette definitely getting the advantage in the 2v2 flash force from Taki. They're going to try and force one from Shogun as well. Okay, that's flash from Paulette, but it's matched by Shogun. They can't quite finish off the kill.
They can't.
But the cleanse forced from the Saigon Buffalo bot lane. Can we see if SPTC can capitalize on that in the next few minutes?
And absolutely strong, and just shows how Zeri Lulu, who looked like a scaling bot lane, and also definitely still have strong level 1, strong level 2 power spikes, which you definitely have to respect, especially with Zeri having this skill shot auto attack and then loading up for this one regular auto attack that definitely hits like a truck. And that's just catching Shogun and Tagi by surprise, burning 3 summoner spells on their end. However, to be fair, also 3 summoner spells burn on the other side, so in that regard, not the end of the world. Either way, the Cull start Zeri definitely showing up a good progress of the early game. And now Shogun potentially recoiling very early. They are recoiling disconnected though. Wouldn't they be faster if they recoil together? It's just saving time for one, but you don't really have a net time window that you win there. So it's probably whatever. Either way, looking kind of heartbreaking that they are recoiling next to each other and not with each other. As here we see Hasmet.
They lost it pretty badly. They're probably arguing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Have a good control of this lane. Yep. But this time we see the pathing from SPTC. DNK has made his way towards the top side. He's going to be spotted on a ward and just have to walk away. But now Guri is on the spot side. There is a very vulnerable Lulu. They have a ward down in the river brush, but
Pog is moving as well.
Breaker over the wall, or even just a flash over the wall. And Guri could make this really bad. Paulette has to be extremely careful.
Yeah, and there is a control ward, so they would spot Guri or Foggy if they manage to walk up in this brush or even the area around the brush, so they can't really be too over-eager on this one. And actually end up not going for it. I mean, Summoner spells down goes both ways, right? I mean, you just know hard won this trade, but it could have been very detrimental to SPTC if they would overextend into this one. That it ends up not really mattering altogether that much. SGB now down a little bit of gold, and the lanes aren't really working that well in their favor. Jungle being down a bit of a camp, and also the bot lane suffering from that earlier blow that really happened against them. Gotta say though, Hasmet, the one we expected to fall down in the early game a little bit, is very much so even against a Cassandra. So that is definitely something that they can play towards in the later stages of the game. So overall, a very slow start to this early game. No kills in the first 5 minutes. Gotta say, not really VCS typical, but in recent times VCS has been going down a lot slower than usual.
Yeah, VCS has slowed down a lot, and on 13.5, even more so. Just a much more quieter patch, quieter region than we are used to. This time now, DNK is going to make his way down. Is not spotted on the crab, but might have been spotted on the crossover. Waiting for that Q to come back up. It's a long bloody cooldown, but do not seem to be aware. Wave is pushing back into them. into the side of SGB.
He wants to strike
Here
right
it
now.
is.
Gui would be too late for it. DNK going in with the permafrost and also the glacial assault here. As Shogun falls down prey to Slater, who uses a ghost and also tries to go into Tark. He can't quite finish him off with the lightning crash as well. And now it's just one kill for them. And Gui being just a bit too late for the play.
Yep, just not quite able to get it. Able to punish that flash timing very well is the side of SBTC. Ghost had come back up from Slater and could convert that extremely well. So
Oh,
now,
dear one.
Okay, Dio with the flash engaged. Now there's no hope with that miasma going down. Beautiful turn from Dio 1. Just caught Froggy completely unawares. That's a solo kill for the Snake. And this is just a beautiful, good Q flash from the side of DNK and quick rundown with this CC.
Yeah, absolutely fantastically played, and just the bot lane kind of being overextended, right? Not really being synced to their own jungler in the mid lane. We see DR1 only at the catalyst, right? But that's apparently enough to burst Froggy down from 100 to 0. Level 6 against level 5. Hits 1Q, then just chase him down with the poison fangs. Here, 1Q actually missing, so he can just now wait a little bit long in this lane, but this is an awful wasted. Oh, the turnaround flash. That would have caught me by surprise as well, letting the stun Miasma onto the bottom, and he can't just get out. Froggy now dying, and maybe we'll praise the draft from SGB a tad too much as they are getting outplayed in the laning phase itself.
Oh yes, absolutely. And no matter what, execution trumps draft, and this is coming up fantastic for the side of SBTC so far. Off to a resounding start, kill onto Zeri, kill onto Cassio, and these are champions that are meant to take a little bit to get their feet in the door. It's going to be an attempt by Tarky, but Slater is going to dodge the knockup and be just fine. Jungler's now moving back out onto the map. Top side is the way to go for DNK. Can he try and salvage this top side? Because it is going pretty rough for Enpa right now. He has a big wave to catch, so the CS is a bit misleading right now, but that's going to cost him a plate at least, you would imagine.
Yeah, especially with Demolish being there. No Bami Cinder or anything. So he could just easily go for this one without being aggroed. And Froggy is also covering this play, so potentially if DNK would have looked for a gank, it would have been a 2v2 that might just turn around in Sang and Buffalo's favor. So the lanes are kind of all going opposite as is expected, right? Jax beating on Cassante, Talia losing against Cassiopeia, and also Zaya Khan losing lane against Lulu. Not what we usually see, but either way, that can happen. Outplay potential still there, also for the potentially losing side. So Sang and Buffalo now actually down quite a bit, right? 1,500 gold at the 8 minute definitely still means a lot. However, they did get the first cloud break of the game, so that's at least something that they can have to their name. As the Herald just now spawned, DNK already looking to secure this one. As Gui is pathing away from that one, will not go for the contest.
There's something I'm wondering with this with the Vi. There was some changes. I don't think they actually came through yet. They're not actually even alive yet, but it sort of wanted to push Vi into a bit more of an AD builder and move her away from the Black Cleaver into tank build. Maybe this is sort of a preemptive response into that. I don't know. I don't see any other reason why there's such a change to this Divine Sunder coming up from the Vi builds when it's not happening anywhere else.
Is it? I mean, otherwise I have seen Radiant Virtue Vice, but they are like quite more on the tanky side and do less damage on their own. I mean, I don't like these utility Vi builds in general. I think she's a champion that definitely needs to deal some damage herself to really enable her carries as much, because they usually can't run out to zero the carries that they are focused by the cease and desist in general. And here we see Hasmid clapping onto Amper. That's an all out, but does he really want to fight this one? That's what I really wonder. I think both kind of pulling away from that one. It would have been a very close 1-for-1 with Grandmaster at arms being used. I think Hasmid could have won this, especially within his own minion wave, but might just not go for the whiskey. Also don't quite know. Maybe DNK is looking on the corner. Maybe Gui is looking on the corner. And he actually was. So smart from Amper to pull away from that one.
Yeah, it looked a little bit weird. Amper kind of all outing in the wrong direction to get the if he was going to go for the all out, has the Q to knock Cosmet into away from him and plays it out just fine. Slater's gonna try and crash this wave, maybe try and get a plate where he can. There's a Rift Herald over the corner, and they're just gonna pass that. They're just gonna pass that quickly over to the side of Slater, not really actually looking to put a threat down. Just a quick crash. Does actually get to go off. Thought maybe they were gonna have a little bit enough damage. Not quite, but it's a good bit of pressure. It's a good bit of gold for the Zeri, and it sets them up nicely to get the vision down required to make this next dragon go their way and avoid a snowball that they're looking to the side of SGB.
Yeah, it's looking like quite the opposite actually, right? SBTC is firmly adding gold right now. More than 2,000 gold by now. That's definitely a surprise. Maybe a welcome one, but maybe not. Depends on whose team you're really a fan of. And already the Word of Age is being started by Casper. But either way, Gooey getting the kill to Slater, you would have wanted to give this over to someone else, but killing Slater seems more than fine for them, as Froggy disengages with the seismic show on the other side and manages to stay alive for this one. Overall, however, SBTC in very good game state right now. Word of Ages and plus tier already for Cassiopeia. It's stacking very, very quickly. However, they might get this Drake, as Slater is yet to be seen on the Rift, just now respawning. Probably too late though, because he will be there in time, while SGB just now burned a lot of tools.
Yeah, Slater, the death time is short enough that he will actually be able to contest the Drake. And yeah, there's not much Slater could have done here. He just kind of got chain CC'd to death.
Oh, they're trapping?
Yeah, this is a bait.
But they are 3, but there's 4.
Jump Slater. That's a good flash, and now the lightning crash comes down. Guri is going to be mown down by Slater as the rest of the fight is actually going the way of SBTC as well.
Palette Giga Chat.
That final kill. Give him the blood. No blood for the blood god. Palette will be disappointed. But on the other side, Guri goes down to Slater. Shogun goes down to DO1 and DNK. Gonna trade for some turret plates, but it's not gonna be a response from SGB. Unless Froggy finds a good ultimate topside. They should be calling for this.
Yeah, SGB here looking to trap them, but then SPTC saying, I'm not locked in here with you, you are locked in here with me, and going for the Uno reverse card, following up with a 4v3 play where SGB couldn't really extend back to the turret. Palette not really winning this portal combat against Taki over there as he gets healed right back up with the Gleaming Quill being hit and the reward being claimed, so he can't just get dove by Taki. Otherwise it would have been a 3-4-0 plus the Drake for the side of SPTC. With that, it's in quotation marks only 2 kills and a Drake, but that of course making them very strong in this mid game. Already ahead more than 3,000 gold by now, and SGB, they really need to rely on Husband right now to carry this game, because otherwise the map isn't really going in their favor at all.
Yeah, Froggy made his way to the top side using that Weaver's Wall, but Enput has apparently just flashed away. He's going to lose a little bit of tower structure damage potentially. And there's a lot of pressure topside, so if he does stay for this wave, they could collapse. Very quick rotation, especially with this Empowered Blast Cone. Still has all out available, does Empa, so can he outplay this 3v1? Doesn't seem very likely.
He can't.
Yeah, no, he's just gonna fall down. There's Dia1, and there's even Taki, so they can go for round 2. They don't have a wave, but it's traded for a tower to Slater, so gold still going for the side of SBTC.
They are very happy with that, I guess, on the bigger picture, as they can't really get the turret push going. I mean, right now they can, and they actually got Emperor, but I mean, expanding a TP to defend the play in the longer one, DR1 can now probably attack this wave and prevent further damage from happening, as Slater get the first turret of the game. There's so much gold influx into his pockets now, with them being even stronger within this game. They're already scaling well, but they are propelling so far further ahead, and not really anything working out SGB's way so far. Also just this kill right now, not going into Hasmet's pocket, so he can't really make much of it. At the Glacier Pyramid, it's Froggy, he's just down, and a kill to Slater. SGB kind of falling apart here, and this is, I need to clear up the ramifications, but here in the bigger picture, it's such an important series, but SGB needs to win right now. They need to face the right opposition and get those wins, otherwise playoffs are done for them.
Yeah, they're of course not mathematically locked out if they lose here, but it's going to be harder and harder if they fall down. And this plant from Froggy, it's an elaborate bait. He sees DNK, he wants to harass the red buff, he doesn't spot the Zeris in the bush until it's way too late. Free pickup for Slater, and a lot of it's just a very things going in the way of for the side of SBTC. If you're Wales or a Wales fan, you're probably wondering which way you want it to go. there's a part of you that wants SBTC to just keep getting as many wins as possible on the basis of you don't have if they keep climbing up, if they take this game at the very least, this series at least, it makes for SGB's job a little harder to climb above you, and then you just hope the strength of schedule knocks SBTC back down a couple of pegs when they go up against GARM, when they go up against Cerberus.
Oh, Foggy.
And for wants a kill.
I think he might just like into the all-out, goes into the stasis at least, and but just kills him. And Foggy, the third death of the game, definitely not showing up in this important series, or this important game. I actually like Foggy the most in the loss that he had in the Lisandro game, which is kind of ironic, but yeah, here it goes to show that maybe Gui should be the Thalia pilot in this game in particular. But yeah, they chose against it, and SBTC definitely punishing him. I mean, it started with this one solo kill for DR1, and just now him getting picked off twice in almost the same spot, basically. Here's to show that SGB not making good arguments for their potential play of one this split, and yeah, SBTC definitely happy to see this one, as well as potentially fans from teams of Cerberus, fans of Wales, fans of GARM, SGB, like. Historically, one of the contenders against GARM doesn't look to be in this time.
Yeah, it's gonna be good for SBTC as well. They made their first playoffs ever last split, and that was a very, very close sneak in that they almost didn't make it. It was pretty much down to that last couple of days that locked them in. This time around, they have. If they win this one, they will be sitting pretty comfortably with a sizable lead over the next best. So this is it's always going up for this team, for the chickens. And if they can get this, they will match Cerberus in wins. Cerberus will have to play Wales later today, and if they are not later today, later this week.
Not another series. 3 series is a bit of a lot for our sleeping schedule, either way. This will happen another time. Either way, so with that, maybe getting their butts kicked in a little bit, they definitely need to start winning again, as losing to Box definitely isn't the play, especially not 0-2. As SBTC claims this Chemtech break uncontested, but very much expected, so they are firmly ahead of in control in this game. 2 items for the side of DR1. He will finish his Sword of Ages in a few minutes, in 2 minutes as to be exact. They will trade it for this auto turret in the top lane, but this was standing gold. It was inevitable to fall, that not being much to write home about. And now SGB may be looking to collapse here, but actually not. I mean, DNK is a very good front line, right? It's Radiant, Virtue, Merc, Threat, Sejuani, can't really make anything against it. And DR1, now pressuring this turret. He should be a lot stronger than Foggy right now. And when does whatever agent completes, he gets a free level, so he will be even further ahead in experience, and especially Cassiopeia makes a lot of use of levels as she gets more movement speed with that one, and that alone just means so much for a champion like this to really run down the enemy targets or escape from those.
Yeah, we're definitely expecting that Sonya's to come on through, give a bit more counterplay against the likes of Guri, who will be trying their best. That's a good pullback on split, and now the collapse is coming through. Teleport in as well from Empa. Flash out from DR1. In comes the cease and desist. The ultimate gets nothing, but Slater is untouched. Slater is bouncing these lightning crashes through the enemy team. It's a 1-0. DR1 survived it all. And now the push comes in. They're going to take this tower. Can they continue? Can they push for more? Doesn't seem likely. It's a good pullback. And no more tools available for SBTC. It's just the kill. It's just the tower. And it falls apart for Buffalo's attempt to come back into the game.
Yeah, and this really like diminishes my hope for SGB a lot, because they actually got the catch onto DR1. They actually had a not so good ultimate and also a kind of bad timed flash on their side, but it still was not enough to get either him down or get anyone down at all. It was a fight Saigon Buffalo was even choosing, and they were still losing that fight, losing 1 kill and the turret on top of it, losing more map control, resulting in this one as here we see again DR1 flashing very early, then gets chased by the cease and desist. Yeah, this Petrifying Gaze not really hitting anyone quite completely. So it was a bad fight from the start for SBTC, and they still win it because they're just so far ahead. It's so easy to play for them, and SGB really being very void of hopes right now. The only hope, I addressed it earlier, was Hasmet, but Hasmet is on the Jax. It goes 2 damage items. He's not really like the born team fighter either, so in those 5v5s it can be easily forced for SBTC. It's so easy for them to just get win after win and just keep forcing those objectives. Maybe even an early Baron on the table for them. It has just now spawned as well, with the 20-minute mark being passed, and they actually instantly pull the trigger.
Yeah, even though Guri is in the area, but with the Cassiopeia, with this area, this Baron is going to take so much damage. I feel they're just looking for the turn. Emperor has found Guri, and he is going to keep that man as far away as possible, has the all-out and can take Guri away. There he is. He's going to find a 3-man pushback, going to pull Guri into the team, straight into the Petrifying Gaze, and it'll be Slater that slams home the kill. It's a Baronet a kill for the side of SBTC. 6,000 gold ahead. It might be lights out for the Buffalo.
And I just gotta credit SBTC, they are so confident in just going for this play, but 20-minute Baron is something that we don't usually see. I mean, with a Cassiopeia it's a bit more likely, and also like a hyper carry on their side, being with an Enchanter, and also a good tank to really tank it up is something that you could sometimes go for, but then just starting off this Baron, not panicking when Gooby is close to it, just using the Cassandra with the Aura to knock him out of the pit, to just rush down this Baron. And SGB, they tried their best to really contest it, but they had absolutely no chance. I mean, they had to kind of contest it because a 20-minute Baron is very, very cocky and like one comeback chance in general, but SBTC was having nothing of that. They just do it as they really should, rush down the Baron, knock Guri out, get the Baron, get one pickup as a follow-up as well, and they are now even further at 7,000 gold on their side, and they can just easily march down this mid lane, maybe with a 5-man squad, maybe with one side in split push fight. Even against the Jax, we just now shouldn't really be able to win these 1v1s as hard as he usually should. So SBTC can do absolutely anything they want in this game, should be on the lookout to at least get this Drake within the time of the Baron, maybe even another turret in the bot lane, as there's still standing gold for them. And Dragon Buffalo has absolutely nothing to hope for in this game.
Yeah, they're going to send Artifact down to push that wave, and I think a rotation into the bot lane tower into Dragon should be the final results of this Baron, unless SGB overstep, which is of course possible. We are now getting closer to level 16 of Cassiopeia, the next ultimate rank up. Slater has reached 3 items. On the Zeri is going to be doing so much damage, going to be so hard to catch with these quick blades dashing all over the place. And DNK slowly approaching a Warmogs so he can just sit there and take a huge amount of punishment. Also, it's worth pointing out, Paulette actually only finished his Shirelia's just at 20 minutes. He picked it up alongside Slater's quick blades, so Paulette feeling a little bit starved for anything, I have to say.
Supports in general, right? I mean, that's the only item he gets all game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not an ideal engage, but he gets a flash from Foggy, so it's probably fine. At this Baron Empowered Cannon minion can not quite finish the turret, but the follow-up push can absolutely. As SBTC can push further. But also, like, the experience lead is so huge, right? Cassiopeia very close to level 16. Foggy just now at 14. That's almost a 2-level gap between the AD carries as well. And now here we see the dive, maybe.
The knockback onto Slate Shogun will force the ultimate. It can't gain the quickness, doesn't connect to anyone. They're gonna only half health the turret. It saves the turret, but they can back off into this Dragon. No problem at all. Dia just gonna quickly start that one up. SBTC in firm control of this game. They just need to close it out. They are not quite at the 10,000 gold lead, so that means Buffalo should not be winning team fights against them like in game 1. That's how that works, I'm pretty sure. And okay, we have to sort of ask, can Buffalo get back without some kind of big miraculous Rift Herald, or not Rift Herald, Elder Dragon? Completely different objective.
I can say not many things for absolute certainty, but they can't come back in this game with a Rift Herald. I think that's completely impossible.
Are you sure? What about the secret third Rift Herald?
I mean, maybe that's like exactly the thing they need, because like anything that is like explainable with our process of logic is out of the window for now. I mean, maybe an Elder Drake is like the closest
Oh
thing.
my God.
Maybe a Baron. But all
Slater!
jokes aside, yeah, Slater is a rich man this game, for sure.
3,000 gold ahead of
And
the
it's-
next player.
It's absolutely SPT's game to lose right now. I mean, SGB needs 1, maybe 2 major mistakes for them to even have a chance back into this game. It's so doomed right now. I mean, 4 minutes for this next Chemtech Drake. It would be the soul for the side of SPTC. And I mean, we had a lot of Chemsoul today, a lot of Chemsoul discussion as well today. And I mean, who can you really one-shot on the side of SPTC? They definitely make good use of it. I mean, it's one of Aegis Sonya's Cassiopeia. She's tanky enough, especially with the Sarah's shield. It's a shield Bozeri. I mean, those will drop low and then heal back up again with all the damage they really do. And the tanks especially can also make good use of it. So, yeah, good.
I tell you what, Paulette better watch his step. He can be one shot if he's not CC'd, can't hit the wild growth. That man is going down. But yeah,
if he breaks both hands from pressing W and E and ultra much, then he might just get one shot. But also, like, if he gets one shot, then all the cooldowns are blown on him. I think they might also be fine, kind of. That's how far ahead SPTC really is.
Yeah, it really is. At pretty much knocking on death's door. Said Slater 3,000 gold ahead of DO1, who is at the next closest, which puts him at a comfortable 5 ahead of Shogun. Kind of see it there. It's a full Runan's Arcane. It's a BF sword on top of that. There is so much gold for Slater right now. He is doing so much damage. And Cassiopeia as well, not to be snuffed at, working towards that Rod of Ages, Rylai's Crystal Scepter with that Giant's Belt in hand.
DNK might just go for the engage here? No, he doesn't quite.
You have to cut through DNK and put to get to them. Baron on the cards. SGB, maybe they don't have a wave, so they can't just try and cheat up mid lane. Can Guri find the angle? He has a good way in. He hasn't been spotted. Can he steal it? Can he keep SGB in the game a little bit longer? In comes Weaver's Wall.
Should not be allowed to flip anything. Like, this shouldn't be a flip. Like, there's a Blast Plant, there's a Flash, there's a Vault Breaker, there's a Cease and Desist. SGB needs to play cleanly.
Now they kill Shogun! That's what they're gonna do instead. They found the turn. It's a good Blade Caller, so no one's actually gonna die. Hasmed, maybe. Yes, he gets knocked back. The Zhonya's is gonna keep him alive a little bit. He's actually able to flash Sleep Strike away, but Enpa doesn't want to stop. It's a Petrifying Gaze to slow them down. It's a kill for Slater. It's a second. Can he get a third? Can he get a fourth? No, it's gonna be taken by DNK. And that does not matter. The teleports to the top side. They've got a wave. They're going to crash it in. And that should be the game. SBTC secure their 7th win, tying that score with Cerberus, tying almost for second place in the wins column. And Buffalo feel playoffs start to slip away.
And I just gotta give credit to SBTC. I mean, good macro for them this game, good micro as well. Like, winning this lane matchup, they absolutely shouldn't win and just steamrolling over that. With the scanning composition, they just snowball all over Saigon Buffalo. And damn, aside from Husband playing good laning phase, didn't really have much to write home about in this game. And with that, might have prevented themselves with a good draft, especially, just to still not really have a chance to go for playoffs. And SBTC punished them right where they should. And absolutely deserve this win. I mean, it's a 2-for-1. It's 2-1 victory. They didn't look too clean in the first win at all, but they definitely showed like some progress toward this game 3 and net themselves a earned W for certain. And with that, I mean, their playoff chances are very, very good.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic for the side of the super big time chickens. SBTC Esports, they have a couple more games left to play. 2 of them are rough. Garm Esports and Cerberus Esports. These are top teams. But I was about to say, they also have Bucks. If they beat Bucks, they get 8 wins. And that is usually, it's probably not mathematically just yet, but that is usually the number you need to secure playoffs. If we look at the graphs, everyone from SBTC pulling their weight in the damage department and just complete dominance from the side of SBTC this time around. Did not take the foot off the gas at all.
you haven't really fell behind in gold at all. Like it started off with this huge bot lane trade that was like heavily in their favor with Lulu at level 1 already against Zayawakan, which I think Lulu are surprisingly strong for what they really are as champions, but they really shouldn't win at level 1 in my opinion. So that's definitely a surprise to be seen. And I just gotta say, like, you might also mathematically lower tomorrow if the win against Box, if you win against Box, because they also are like 2-0 in the head-to-head against Saigon Buffalo. That also plays in their favor. So I think Saigon Buffalo has very poor cards to be dealt with here. I mean, they started the split of 0-3, then kind of come back, and now, after a good form in general, just now lost a very important deciding series, maybe for them. Saigon Buffalo also has to play GAM yet. I think SBTC is already through that one. No, they actually both play GAM still. But I mean, that's a series that both teams will likely lose. And SBTC, I mean, they also to some extent break the circle of SBTC that we post on social media every split. So that's also something that they have going for them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge bonus for SBTC. It would have to be pretty much all the stars aligning to keep them out of playoffs at this point. It's up to see if Buffalo can do it on the back end. They still have some rough games. They have GAM, they have Team Wales. They did beat Wales the first time around, but we will have to see if they can repeat that. They will pretty much have to repeat that if they want to climb their way into playoffs. But congratulations to SBTC. You've made playoffs a lot easier. Congratulations to Flash. You've made avoiding relegation significantly easier as well. 2 big games with huge implications. That's what we had today, and we have now seen what they will do to the scoreboard. But with that, that's us done for the day. I'm Albanogi. This has been Quincy, of course. And with that, we will see you tomorrow on VCS.
Bye-bye.